planet Tiamat. Heinous here. Because I'm gonna let you know, if you're in the water, you're gonna die. Illuminati dies here today, Mom.
It's a shark in the zoo. They say in Babylon, put the mark on him too. His whole body light so we can maul other guys. If my all-seeing eye going dark on me too. And them coffers for you. I'm ready so the devil who I call out first. I heard God call us behind the great wall. He I made a sword off to kick them all off earth. So my click don't play. Haven't gotta choose the wolf or the lamb. Getting shot down by a pig in the street. Why do niggas gotta beef when it's a whole lot of ham? Alright, it's a hole in the dam. They can't flood Merc, so they shoot down gangs. Merc fly high, baby, Merc won't die. I don't see nobody here that can shoot down planes. It's like I shoot down veins. You're turning everybody in the hood to an addict. You look 6th grade to a bully with a habit. Cause I'm a switchblade or a fully automatic. Let's go. It's only 2 ways out. Don't ever try to sit or think of running cause you can't. It's only screaming die while you running out of tank. Or screaming try bitch while you running out the bank. Cause my click don't pay. I'm probably in your range getting brain with the semi. My hoe act right like she came with an Emmy. She want black pipe cause she came with the Remy. Ain't no pain even in me. You probably wouldn't know where I blow back kush. It's 5 knockouts when it's 5 cops out. Or it's 5 shots out from the big bad wolf. Better bitch gon' say that my click don't play. I threw a clip in the cave, but I'm probably in your range getting brain with the semi. Better bitch gon' say that my click don't play. I threw a clip in the cave, but I'm probably in your range getting brain with the semi. Better bitch gon' say this is the only way I know to handle this. A whole lot of guns and a whole lot of cannons.
Shots fired at ScrewTube, but shots out to you carbon babies. This is your melanated warrior, Hebrew Heinous, and this is another installment of Facts Over Feelings. Leave your feelings at the door so we can get to the facts, because the facts are the only things that matter in a race where the first ones to the mind is the winner. What's up, Crystallogians? As you can see, I got my blue blockers on. These are called blue blockers, brothers and sisters, so it's not an attempt to be cool. This is actually I was actually reading an article. I had these, I've heard about glasses like this for a minute, but I was reading this article by Dr. Robert Gardner. He's an ophthalmologist at Harvard University. You know how these blancos is with their science. But anyways, they know that, this technology, it definitely adversely affects us. But the thing is that, when you're looking at these computer screens, which I work with, a lot of computer screens, obviously at my job too as well. So I've increased the time and exposure with these screens, especially the one that I work with is like a 24-inch monitor, and it's damn near like it's less than an arm length away from me, and it always has to process all the events that I go through. So I always have to constantly look at this monitor. So what they discovered is that it's not your vision going bad. What's happening is that your eyes are constantly trying to adjust. It's going in and out. And since we know that computer images are pixelated, the words and the images are pixelated, your vision, it fucks with your vision, and it can cause irreversible damage and stuff. So these are blue blockers. It blocks the blue light and the harmful radiation from computer screens and, obviously your phones and stuff like that. So I encourage our brothers and sisters to get these, especially your children. If you find out that they're actually using their laptops and their devices and stuff a lot more, and you find yourself using them a lot more than what you would like to, then definitely get you some of these glasses. You got to protect your vision, because remember, you got melanin in your eyes. Melanin in your eyes, brothers and sisters. So you're going to be adversely affected. You're going to absorb a lot more radiation from these harmful pieces of technology than your counterparts. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. And plus, y'all know, when it's a hiatus, it obviously is because of my job. Man, we was working 10-hour shifts 6 days a week for 3 weeks straight. Oh my goodness. But let me see who in the chat right quick while I got these damn blue blockers on, man. I might take these off and shit. I don't know, because I damn near, we're going to see if they doing more justice. But these motherfuckers, I can hardly see. I might have to not be able to. These motherfuckers feel like I got on bifocals. They feel like I got on bifocals, man. So I'm going to have to rock without them for a minute. Anyways, I put them on if my eyes seem to be irritated. But let's see who we got in the chat. Let me get ones in the chat if you guys can hear me. Ones in the chat if you guys can hear me, all right. So we got Dion in the chat. Peace and wisdom. He said peace and wisdom, family. Ones in the chat if you guys can hear me. Kyle laughing at me. I know Kyle's like, this nigga with these sun blockers. I used them earlier. I guess I'm when I get, they just making me feel like I hate glasses, man. Yeah, you got to get them blue blockers. Like I use them when I'm actually, like I said, I use them when I'm, using my phone and shit like that, especially at night. If you isolating it and it's the only light, like if you don't have any surrounding light, you definitely want to have some blue blockers. I mean, get them, they're like $15, $20 on eBay. And they actually, they're useful. It's just that they feel weird to me. I'm just not used to wearing glasses. This shit is weird. Anyway, y'all, we got as you know, this shit is explosive. It's explosive. We're not gonna waste your time. We got an explosive segment. This stuff is finna be it's finna be a phenomenal segment. Now in the previous segment, obviously, we're placing a tremendous amount of emphasis on making sure that we knew the whole story, because we know that we're not getting the complete story in terms of our history, right? The other thing was, we exposed the mythical character by the name of Khalifa, right? Whatever you want to call her. And we talked about how this individual, this character, captured the imagination of the conquistadors, right, and got them to spur on, these discoveries, or to initiate these trips to where they would go about trying to discover these mystical lands, right? Okay, that were filled with gold and women, and mythical Amazon women who rode on griffins and etc. and all of these different things, right? So this is interesting because, like we said, a lot of times from us not knowing or having all of the information available to us, we don't know whether to go left or right in terms of to accept a lot of these stories, or to just, pass them off as just myths. But we know that there's a little bit of truth in everything. We know that our information has been scattered and it's been, dismembered, and put in such a way to whereas it take a Herculean effort in order to gather all of the things that we need to really see history in the light in which it should be seen. And that's with the utmost clarity. But the only way to do that is having the ability to be able to put these pieces of the puzzle together. So we're finna explore that because, we got this eclipse coming up. I know everybody been going crazy over it, right? We've been talking about this, and guess where of all places it's gonna start? In Mexico. Okay, it starts in Mexico. We talked about these crystals. We're finna get off into all of this stuff. And does any of this stuff hold weight, right? Because they've been scaring us to death for since 2020. Well, since your existence, really, if you really think about it. But since 2020, it's been a lot of fear mongering. I mean, you got the pandemics, right? You got World War III, possibly. You got tornadoes, earthquakes, climate change, you name it, zombie apocalypse. This Blanco got a million ways to scare you. So this is another one. Is he priming you? Does this have any weight? We don't know. But only thing that we know is that we have to pay attention to the common denominator, which is that he's telling us that this shit is going to go down no matter how you cut, slice, and dice it. So what I want to do first, I want to start it off with this video with Dr. Ben, right? We want to take a look at a video with Dr. Ben because it's going to echo some of the sentiments that we talked about in the previous segment and help to garner even more clarity. So we want to preface this by 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowances made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, scholarship. Overall, here at the FOF Squad, waking your ass up. So let me prime this video right quick, brothers and sisters. Hold on for 1 second. For 1 second. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, let me get ones in the chat to make sure that you guys can hear me. Can you guys still hear me? We're going to get ones in the chat. Make sure you guys still hear me. Jay Chosen said, will the eclipse be experienced simultaneously in different time zones or respect to each zone? Well, yeah, basically with an eclipse, with solar eclipses, even when you're going to have to be in what they call in the realm or the sphere of totality, which means that when the solar eclipse is when the moon gets in front or in between the earth and the sun. All right. And so since obviously the sun is bigger than the moon, then it won't obviously, be seen across the entire globe. It'll only be seen in certain places. They say that obviously this will be in the southeast, and we're going to get into that. So yeah, we're going to tackle a little bit of that. We know what we're looking at. We also delved into that in previous segments. If you guys have been rocking with us for a minute, I know Jay's been rocking with the squad for a minute, but we talked about that to an extent, but we just discussed a lot of the, the lunar and solar eclipses, but we didn't discuss it in this, like this. So we're going to go a little bit deep off into that. But this right here, I think you guys should hear this. So let's let this video play. We're going to start it at the, let me see, where are we at? Yeah, I believe it's at the 12-minute mark. Hold on one second, you guys. Let me see where this timestamp is at. See where this timestamp is at.
Of Ramesses VI at the Valley of the Kings, go to the temple at Edfu, where you would, by the way, see there were no Jews in those days. They called them. Remember now, there were no Israel yet. Israel is not until 1196. And when we to hear of Abraham, Avram as he was called, coming into Egypt, the Africans are already in Egypt.
Hold on, you guys.
They don't emphasize it in the classroom. As a matter of fact, let me back you up when you open up the discourse. We were speaking about Columbus. None of them in here, none of the listening audience, even in the air, had the faintest idea that in the life of Columbus, when after his death, his family had to go to court because charges was raised, and this is in the record in the Vatican, in the secret archives of the Vatican, that Columbus was shown a map of where the Queen of Sheba that Dr. Ben spoke about, this black woman who had mated with Solomon and produced the son, Menelik I, and they lived more than 900 years before the birth of Jesus, had already sailed through what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar, came...
Now, notice why I just played this video. This is significant. Now, remember I talked to you guys about compartmentalized thought, and compartmentalized thought parading around as a holistic worldview. The reason why this is so dangerous. Now, these are some of our best scholars. George Simmons, obviously, Dr. Ben, and kudos to them. This is what they're doing. He was just, and I'm taking out an excerpt here, and obviously to put this into context, obviously these two professors they're out there educating our people and giving them the, the true understanding behind a lot of this esoteric information, which is that we are the ones who spurred this on, right? We know if it, all of this stuff comes from us. So that's neither here nor there. But one of the things that he's talking about one of the stories about Sheba. We've heard about Sheba. We've talked about Queen Sheba. As he said, Queen Sheba supposedly went and gave gifts to King Solomon. She wanted to test his knowledge. She asked him a series of riddles in which he answered. And supposedly, he ended up seducing her. They had a son. That son I think the tale goes to where he even brought back the Ark of the Covenant. All right. And then we all know Haile Selassie is supposed to be the last descendant of and come from the lineage of Queen Sheba and King Solomon. So even if we credit ourselves, mind you, that's also when we talk about our Ethiopian brothers and sisters, we got to remind you that those Christian brothers and sisters in Ethiopia believe that type of Christianity, where they think that, obviously their blood, their royalty comes from a bloodline that had descended from King Solomon and Queen Sheba. But what I wanted to point out to you was, remember what he said, that they had a map where they sailed through Gibraltar, where they sailed through the Straits of Gibraltar. And this is why you gotta see, and this is why this is going to be such a profound segment, because you're going to see that there's been many stories about the same woman. Is it Queen Khalifa? Is it Sheba? Okay, is it Queen? Is it Athena? We don't know who this woman is. This woman has obviously had many names. Now, and this is why I said that this is profound. We're going to go right off into an article. We're going to go right into an article that I already brought out in the previous segment to show you exactly what I'm talking about. And this article was on Atlantis. Remember? So let's go right here, right quick. Let's read this. Atlantis, a legendary island in the Atlantic Ocean, lying west of the Strait of Gibraltar. The principal sources for the legend are two of Plato's dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. In the former, Plato describes how Egyptian priests in conversation with the Athenian lawgiver Solon described Atlantis as an island larger than Asia Minor and Libya combined and situated just beyond the Pillars of Hercules or the Strait of Gibraltar. So is it Atlantis as she comes from? Is it, is this Queen Sheba? Is this, you see what I'm saying, people? You see how they have fragmented our history, blown it up into a million pieces, and they put forth such a concerted effort in order to keep us confused. But oh, we about to get to the truth. We about to get to the truth, y'all. You see what I'm saying? You know what our job is here, but we just wanted to put that out there because we wanted to show you the importance of knowing the whole story and how we've had some of our best scholars and obviously give us tidbits of this information come under different names, okay? Different places, right? But at the end of the day, we're going to see a common theme immerse. We're going to identify what that mantra is and we're going to exploit it in the effort to garner more clarity, because that's the only way for us to be able to reacquaint ourselves with the supernatural and really and truly and honestly believe it. All right. So with that being said, okay. Hold on one second. Let me get my notes. All right. So with that being said, so since we know that they like to give us compartmentalized thought, let me this screen right quick. Hold on, y'all. I got to take a sip of this cacao right quick because we about to get into it. It's about to get explosive in this bitch. It's about to get explosive. All right. So now that we see what I talked about before, I said, we got to understand that there's a common theme that's going down. All right. So people, we just had, I believe Jay Chosen was talking about the eclipse, right? The solar eclipse. All right. Will it be experienced simultaneously in different time zones? We know that they said that it's over around like the southeast, the south of the southeast. That's primarily where it's going to be at. Okay. But it's going to start over in Mexico, and its trajectory obviously is going to make like an X because it came, I believe, in 2017. So we're going to talk about that. So in the chat, what have you guys heard about the solar eclipse? In terms of, have you heard about these stories, these like apocalyptic revelations concerning the eclipse? What have you guys heard? I want to kind of hear some of y'all, comments in the chat regarding the eclipse. Like I said, we're going to also make this, put forth an effort to make this as interactive as possible. And then we're going to go into pulling some articles because we don't have a lot of time. But, I just want to see what's going on with the with a couple of ideas in the chat given by you guys. Jay Chosen talking about powers being unlocked. That's what's up. Hamichi said heard it would be during solar maximum, aka mass ejections. All right. Okay, so what we finna do is we about to pull up an article. I don't know if you heard about this, but this is gonna be critical when we talk about symbolism. Let's get into it because we got a lot of information to cover, and I want you guys, like we said, we're always gonna leave a lot smarter than before these segments, man. Because we're gonna have all of the details, right? All right, so hold on, let me grab this. Let me cue this article right quick. Where'd you go? Hold on one second, you guys. Oh, you gotta be there. I know it's here, you guys. Hold on. Hold on one second. Yeah, I'm gonna have to type it right back up. Hold on, you guys. Sorry about that. Hold on one second. I have to type it back in. They hating on your boy. All of this shit was queued. They hating on your boy. Hold on one second. Yeah, see, they know they was hating on your boy. See, let's get this. Okay, so let's get started. All right, I'm finna share my screen, you guys. All right. Why doomsdayers think the eclipse will bring disaster to Illinois. Now, look at the symbolism on this, too, you guys. All right. The town of Carbondale sits in the middle of an astronomical crossroads. You can't make this shit up. Carbondale. And if you think this shit is just, if you think it ain't gonna get weird, watch this shit. It's gonna get weird, y'all. The end of the world will occur in Carbondale, Illinois. That is one of the latest conspiracy theories that have been floating around the internet over the past year. 7 years ago, this small town experienced a total solar eclipse, the path of which spanned the United States diagonally from South Carolina to Oregon. This year on April 8th, the U.S. is once again seeing a band of 100% totality, but this time stretching from Texas to Maine. If the paths from both the 2017 and 2024 total solar eclipses were laid on top of each other, the two trajectories would form an X over the country. Carbondale sits right at the center of that X, one of the very few lucky places to see a total eclipse twice in 7 years. If you live forever and you never move from where you are today on average, you would have to wait 400 years for a total eclipse to come across where you are, says Frank Close, professor of physics at Oxford University and a fellow of Exeter College. The likelihood that you would experience two total solar eclipses in one place in the space of 7 years is minuscule. The chances are so low that some believe something special is going on in Carbondale. In particular, conspiracy theories believe that a seismic event will be triggered when the eclipse arrives in this part of the state, known as Little Egypt, killing hundreds of thousands of people. Let me talk back to you. So it just so happens that this solar eclipse, right, is going to hit the X, or be at the center of the X, is going to be a town called Carbondale. Or what was it called? What did they call it? Yeah. Okay. It's Carbondale. All right. And we know carbon, and in Little Egypt, we know carbon. We know that this is alchemy because we know alchemy is where Egypt, is where what came out of Egypt and stuff like that. So we see these connotations, right? And it's hard for us who are symbol literate not to pay attention to these things. But that's the center of it. That's where. So when they talk about that X marks the spot, this is where that comes from. So when you hear people talk about this, now you know exactly what people are talking about. You're gonna be like, okay, well, you're talking about Carbondale, Illinois. They're gonna be like, what? See, because these people don't have the whole story. Mind you, we got a lot of people running around just telling stories. Let's at least get an idea where a lot of these stories are coming from. But what did we expose in the movie 2012 when we showed you in the previous segment? What we were saying was the cosmic energy from the sun. They were showing you where these neutrinos or these particles began to communicate through this science or through these radio waves or through these type of waves called microwaves. And it started to communicate with the core or the interior of Earth. And started to what? Cause the earth to heat up or to activate the volcanoes. And you will see this being a common theme, because what we need to do is to identify what is the common denominator, which we're about to expose. And we've done this many times, but this is about to put the nail in the coffin right here. This segment, it's about to be truly explosive, brothers and sisters, because what we're going to do as well is we're going to now get off into Pasha, Beverly, Randolph. We're going to show how he was an enigmatic figure, charismatic figure, obviously the one who took the energy and took the knowledge from my ancestors and watered it down for these blancos and used them as a device in order to acquire this knowledge and acquire the power that they desperately wanted. What sparked these revolutions, right? Which sparked this frantic frenzy to come over here and to consolidate power and to that would be taken away from those who were given it by their birthright, right? The Christologians. All right. Now, whether it was a Queen Sheba, whether it was Queen Khalifa, whatever you want to call her, Queen or Athena, however you want to characterize her, it obviously was some being here that exists that had a tremendous amount of power. And we're going to go off into that. But we don't care what you call her. One of the things is they knew that she existed. They found the gold. They found the crystals. Now, where is she? Where is this Sheba? Where is this Khalifa? We're finna get into it. And we're finna show you that they made a movie about it. One of my favorite movies of all time. And we just finna blow your mind with this evidence that we got because we provide the receipts. I swear, y'all, you know what? I always said that, I was a cashier. My very first job was a cashier. And I know why. Because I be giving niggas receipts, nigga. That's just, I'm in the habit of giving receipts and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it was a very good first job, I might say. So let's get off into this, right? Let's show you that, a lot of times when we are able to cross out all of them, the bullshit because we have high analytical skills. We're able to get to the crux of the matter. So from this, we're going to figure out exactly where they're aiming. Because remember, I told you they're crystal hunting. I told you all of the shit that the Blanco doing is that shit's just confusion. He got us all in the flux. He got everybody running scared about what eventuality will come about. Remember, we told you it's a million different type of ways that everybody think the end is gonna come. Zombies, aliens, pandemics, climate change, whatever the case may be, right? But one thing we know is he's crystal hunting. That's one thing we know. And so sometimes just by using common sense, you could eliminate certain things that may not be the eventuality. For instance, we've all heard about BRICS, right? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa coming together, making a currency, right? And so if you have high analytical skills, you'll realize, like, when somebody say, oh, well, yeah, it's gonna be the end of the dollar, we got to figure out what we need to do. Well, common sense would tell you, who has the strongest military and largest military on the planet? Ain't it the white boy? Don't he got all these aircraft carriers, planes, jets, guns? What you think he gonna do with them? You think if his dollar collapse, he gonna be like, oh, here go my nuclear weapons. Here go all my guns. Here go my planes. Here go my aircraft carriers. No, nigga. So you already know that if his dollar collapse, you might as well say it's World War III. See, that's what high analytical skills get you. So now you're not tripping over whether or not the Blanco currency gonna collapse. Because you know if the Blanco money fail, he not getting rid of his weapons. He not finna give his planes back. He not finna give his nuclear weapons back. You know that for a fact. So shut the fuck up. You see what I'm saying? See, we can't have our people honing in on these things. We know so we're gonna go into the real stuff, right? So let's go ahead and refamiliarize you with this photo right quick to show you exactly what he after. Because I gotta show you this. Because we the only ones who really been breaking this. Nobody is seeing this esoteric shit like this, right? The eclipse starts here in Mexico, right? So let me share my screen. Now, we showed you these crystals. These are what they call selenite crystals. These selenite crystals are made of gypsum. Gypsum is made of like calcium, what your bones are made out of. Look, you see NASA in here. They got to be here with these special suits because you're talking about 99% humidity and it's hot as fuck. They got to wear these special suits with respirators and shit on their back just so they can breathe in there for 20 to 35 minutes. They don't allow anybody up in here. Nobody can come in here. All right. And they've been kicking these people out because they know the eclipse starts here. One thing you have to know is through magma, because this is down deep underneath this mountain. Right. And this was supposedly discovered in the year 2000, they claim. Right. But we know, like we said before, the size of these crystals pop up and they grow very, very fast. Very fast. And that gives them a sign or an indication that the earth is heating up because the larger the crystals will become. And the size of the crystals would determine at the rate and speed in which they see Mother Earth about to exact her vengeance. At the earth is heating up. And this is what the Blancos have articulated as climate change. And crystals or piezoelectricity is how they keep time. How do we know this? Because this is how they keep time with your watches. They call it a quartz watch. Piezoelectricity. Crystals keep time. I am killing you niggas. Okay, so these Blancos have to always go crystal hunting, always got to figure out where the next volcanoes and stuff at to keep track of Mother Earth as she goes through her cycles. Okay, this is what you need to know. All right, so let's double back. Hold on, you guys. Okay, so let me get this. So we're finna show you too as well. We're finna show you too as well as why it is so significant too before we go off into the heavy stuff too as well. So let me prep this.
The Philippines has identified the 4 new
1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowances made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, education. But overall here at the FOF squad, waking your ass up. Now we're just gonna show just gonna be a quick glimpse of what's going on over there in the Philippines, and we're going to go off into showing you why this is, or telling you why this is so significant. So let's play this clip right quick.
new military bases that it will be giving U.S. troops access to. At least one of them will face the South China Sea, paving the way for a greater American presence in key locations in the region. Beijing, angered by the move, has accused the U.S. of fueling tensions. It has warned other countries to be vigilant against being used by Washington.
The 4 new military bases that will be used by American forces will be scattered around the Philippines. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. says the expanded access will include sites close to Taiwan and in Palawan province near the South China Sea. This will effectively give the United States a front row seat to China's activities in the region.
Okay, bam. So they go over here. They've already had bases over here. They're talking about how it's all about China. No, we know China and the United States. We've already uncovered the fact that all of these so-called superpowers are working together, right? Because we said we've already exposed that when I talked about what was going on with the Israeli conflict. We talked about how these so-called superpowers are on the Security Council. So the same people that's beefing at each other's throats, Russia and the United States, just so happen to be the security for the world to maintain peace, and they beefing with each other and almost coming to grips. So we know this is all a game. This is the highest of political theater. So why are they really there? I'm so glad you asked. Now let's go to this video. It should be in my watch later right quick. So hold on. Let me bounce out of this right quick so I can find it. Hold on, you guys. All right, so yeah, we're gonna watch the preface by 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowance made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, scholarship, education, but overall here at the FOF Squad, waking your ass up. So let's get into it.
Hey everybody, just reporting the studying discovery. They found in the Philippines Sea a dwarf-size cauldron, and what that means is that they discovered the world's largest cauldron in the Filipino Sea. And it's supposed to be a large crater-like feature formed after a volcanic eruption. They said that the magnum.
Okay, so he talks a little bit too slow, so we're gonna speed this up for him. Now it's called Apalaki. Apalaki means giant lord and is based on the Filipino mythical god of the sun and war. So basically we already went into calderas because it's called a caldera, or what we talked about was a cooking pot. Remember, we said that, and if we want to get to a greater understanding of what our people were doing, we got to go and read a lot of the Spanish material. Okay, now it just isn't by chance. I remember Philippines, nobody is a Philippine. Like, I got a guy, I work with a guy, he's from the Philippines. He calls himself Filipino. I said no. Remember, the Philippine Islands was named after King Philip. So if you're not related to King Philip, I doubt that you're a Filipino. You see what I'm saying? And he started laughing. But this is the point, right? But they have this caldera, and we talked about it. These calderas are these, they look like craters, but the difference is it still has that magma up under it. They want to talk all day about it being, oh, it's inactive, but then you wouldn't be saying in the same breath that, oh, well, we found this is important discovery. This is the largest super volcano since Yellowstone. And remember what I told you, we read the article that when they discovered the calderas at Yellowstone, which at that time was seen as the largest super volcano on Earth, they had the U.S. Army over there guarding it for 30 years until they gave it over to the National Park Service. To remind you, our ancestors were over there in by those volcanoes, because we also know, like we said before, a lot of the gold, diamonds, uranium, lithium, and all of that comes out of those volcanoes. So precious metals. So where did you think Sheba was getting all of these precious gems and metals and things like that, right? This is why they go in. This is the only reason why they go in and have bases and reestablish ties with so-called democratic friendly nations that they want to articulate them in political theater. But the reality of it is they stay close. close. Now, one thing that should also jump at you, think about it. These were scientists, supposedly, they said. Scientists came and they discovered it, and they named it Apolaki, means giant lord. Now, the thing that should pop in your head, the Blanco said as a scientist, he don't believe in gods. The Blanco said he don't believe in gods. So why is he naming these mountains and these volcanoes after gods then if you don't believe in God? Woo, I'm about to start cooking on y'all. Because they're in the occult. That's one thing that should let you know right was hidden right in plain sight. If you don't believe in God and you a scientist, what do you name it? Oh, Apolaki means giant lord and is based on the Filipino mythical god of the sun and war. Yeah, that's what biologists and geologists do. They go out and they discover these damn calderas and then name them after mythical motherfuckers who they claim that you are pseudo for believing in. Yup, make a whole lot of sense. But I digress. So we finna get out of this. Let me go right back into getting, So right now what we finna do is we're finna go right off into this character called Pasha Beverly Randolph, which we exposed before, but we took this video down. So we're finna go off into letting you see the individual who stole this knowledge from our people when he got there. Because remind you, for thousands of years, we was trading with these individuals for tribes of individuals who look like us, but were not of us. Okay? And I do believe, and this may be conjecture, but like I said before, we're gonna give you the facts. But from my belief system, I do believe that ultimately our queen got a little too greedy, right? Because all the tales in Greek and with the Greeks and their fighting and stuff like that, what she did was she wanted total domination. Okay. And eventually it got the best of her. So we're finna go into the story and we're finna show you what movie actually detailed that. And we're finna go deep off into the symbolism. So I think that you guys are finna absolutely love this. But right now, let's take a look at Pasha Beverly Randolph. We're gonna take a look at this video and this is gonna be some exciting stuff. So you guys really gonna have to pay attention to what she's talking about. Of course, we're gonna interject and give our 2 cents because we're gonna make it all make sense. But we're gonna preface it first by 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowances made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, scholarship. But overall here at the FOF squad, waking your ass up, all right? So let's get into this. This one is going to be good. It's going to be some real good stuff.
Randolph notes that in his
all right, hold on.
1860.
So we're going to start at the 7-minute mark of this video. 7-minute mark of this video.
Comes from this book project I'm working on called Going Underground, Race, Space, and the Subterranean in the 19th Century United States, which examined the emergence of the underground as a figure for being in but not of like a rotten world. First popularized in the metaphorical sense by viral newspaper coverage of the Underground Railroad in the 1840s, the underground offered an image of subversive activity that has remained central to our political vocabulary. So I'm interested in the long history of this kind of now familiar idea, but I'm especially interested in seeking out the versions of the underground that were kind of left behind along the way. So I focus on the early underground's relationship to 2 other formations in particular. Actual subterranean spaces on the one hand, and then contemporaneous racial thought on the other.
Okay, so notice what this chick is saying, because they always dry, but I love, because I know that they be crafting spells, but what she's saying is, this is her thesis, she's saying that she's looking for 2 other formations. One is, she said that she's talking about Pasha Beverly Randolph was excited about, he always promoted this idea of an underground railroad. See, this was before, this was to show you that they're going to show you that they concocted this concept. They're going to show you how they birthed it. Pasha Beverly Randolph was a designer of this concept of the Underground Railroad. But what she's arguing is in his papers, mostly what he alluded to was an actual place, a subterranean place where the elders gathered, where these people who are not from this world gathered, right? These caves of crystals and stuff. Oh, this shit is finna be explosive. All right. And so so what he did was then it became now, like an underground. They also use it to promote this idea of us becoming slaves and then, using an underground railroad in order to get the freedom, because he knew that obviously when we became reacquainted with, the information that they had stolen and actually buried from us, then of course we would become the guys that they feared that, that they know that we are. So the reality of it is, like she's saying, that what he's actually pointing to to is more of something that's very palpable, something that you could actually taste, touch and feel, not something that's pseudo or in the realm of fantasy. This was something that he actually documented because he's seen it. But what he did was muddy it because obviously they came here to steal what was ours. So they're never going to tell the truth, but we're going to be able to obviously get the truth up out of them as we put all of these dots together. But this is what she's talking about. She's saying that what he was really exercising or trying to get out, or the demon that he was exercising in these papers, was the thought that you could only achieve freedom by connecting with the underground. All right. And so let's let her go on.
So it turns out that for a surprisingly long time, the underground's emergent figurative meaning was entwined with its literal meaning as a space below the earth. So one of the things I'm interested in are the affordances of visualizing insubordination as a space that one could dwell in. And then I argue further that 19th century undergrounds were often racialized, and most often they were racialized as Black.
See, and she argues, she's saying that then in the 19th century and stuff, then it became racialized. Like everybody started talking about the underground, like Blacks were trying to get to some sort of freedom, the underground world. This is deep shit. Right? And how do you know that they did this? Because Pasha, Beverly, Randolph, and Frederick Douglass, and a lot of these Blancos, they set up the schools. Oh, this is finna get deep. They set up the schools. And remind you, like we said before, remember the dates is going to make all of this make sense. Men and women lie, numbers don't. So we're about to examine these dates, and it is going to astound you. But let her continue to talk. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to go to the 9 minute and 14 second mark. Speed this up just a little bit, because we got a lot more information to cover, so we don't want to get caught up too much over in here. But hold on 1 second. It's right there.
Freedman Bureau teacher, an occultist, and a sex magician. And then if I can work the share screen.
So he was a Freedman Bureau's teacher, occultist, and sex magician. Okay, that's what he was. All right. So we're gonna go to the 10 minute mark, where I already was. That's a picture of him. All right, let's go.
In poverty to the same source. His experiences of alienation and hyper-awareness, he contended, had fostered multiple sensitivities, as he put it, while what he called his mixed identity gave him the power to channel multiple spirits in his own body. We might hear the echo, I think, of Randolph.
He said his mixed identity gave him the ability to channel different spirits. He felt like he was mixed with different crystals. Okay, let's go on.
Randolph's connection between his racialization and his gifts as a medium nearly half a century later in the supernatural overtones of W.E.B. Du Bois's famous formulation of double consciousness as, quote, the peculiar sensation of being gifted with second sight in this American world. I'm also almost certain that we hear much more than the echo of Randolph's thought in the novel Of One Blood by his one-time Boston neighbor, Pauline Hopkins. As many of you probably remember, its protagonist, Royal Briggs, is like Randolph, a mixed-race medical doctor who struggles with depression and internalized racism, who communicates with his spiritually gifted dead mother, who travels to Ethiopia, and who explores the prophetic properties of magic mirrors and trance states. And if people are interested in this connection, I can say more about it in the Q&A. So the details of Randolph's particular cosmology changed from work to work, but they might be summed up by Fred Moten's statement, "Fuck a home in this world if you think you have one." If we took a properly cosmic perspective, Randolph held, we could all recognize ourselves as adrift from the here and now. So he generally believed that all beings begin as what he called monads, which are like thoughts of God that scatter over the universe as a kind of divine particulate. And then after death, human souls seek to return to their divine origins. And they travel to this vast and kind of heterogeneous system of spirit realms and arrive at a location that corresponds to their spiritual development. And Randolph's criteria for these celestial divisions varied over the course of his career. And at times he delineates them in pretty starkly racist terms. And at other times, and these are sometimes even within the same text, he contends that, and I'm quoting from him now, ties, blood, race, or family count for little or nothing over there.
See, and that's what he would tell when he was teaching them, because remember, he starts the Masonic Lodge over there in San Francisco. All right, I believe in 1861. She says that, you know, if you want to take a look at this video, I believe that may be the correct date, but I know it was before the Civil War. So it was in 1861. He starts the Triple Lodge, right? And so he's teaching them that it doesn't matter, but like that's what she's talking about. She's talking about how conflictual his stance is, his ideological stance. On one hand, when he's teaching these blancos, like, oh, you know, color doesn't matter and blah blah blah. He's telling you that, but then she goes on to say how he really felt about these spiritual abodes, if you will. But always keep in mind too as well, this was a concerted effort on the part of Pasha, Beverly, Randolph, and too as far as Western institutions in order to make our history myth, and then their myths our history. Okay, that's one thing that you have to understand. So watch it. We're going to go off and explain it. I'm not going to leave you off on the cliff hanging. We're going to provide more clarity on that concept I just threw out there. But we're just going to let her talk. But that's what she was explaining. You know, the conflict in his presentation in terms of or his thought processes, right, over time. You know, he believed that he would first say that, oh, it didn't matter what color you were and all that. But then he began to realize that, for those who would really seek it out and those who wanted the true knowledge, this is what it really was. So let's continue.
And in his late work, he actually declares that, quote, the choice abodes of spirit land primarily belong to people of color.
See, the choice abode of spirit lands primarily belong to people of color. But notice, remember I said they're trying to turn our history into myth. They're talking about some sort of spiritual land. Now watch how she talks. And then you're going to ask yourself a viable question. Does this sound like a spiritual land to you? You may articulate it as one because we're a spiritual people. But come on, they're trying to make it seem like it doesn't really actually, like it's some sort of land that you go to when you die, like a heaven or something, right? Like our nirvana. That is not the case. That was here. All right. So let's go on.
Who, quote, outnumber the fair ones in the ratio of about 12,000 to 100.
So when they went over to California, remember we told y'all about the gold rush and stuff in 1849, they ran off of Manifest Destiny. We told you about how James Polk was a president then. He only wanted to run on one term off that one term of Manifest Destiny. He didn't even want to run again, even if they wanted to elect him again as president. He just wanted to run off Manifest Destiny. And when they got there, the whole thing about it is that they understood that, remind you, when they declared California a state in 1850, according to them, they only had 100,000 people. Now look at Pasha, Beverly, Randolph numbers. He said it was 12,000 of us to every 100. So imagine how many of us they were surrounded by when they got there. Okay, this is very crucial. This is crucial for your understanding. Now let her continue to talk. Matter of fact, we're going to skip to the 14-minute mark.
A colorless electric current courses through them. They wear clothes.
Hold on. Let's go right here.
As also form, proportion, and coherence. So in short, spirit worlds are made of palpable ideas. And as such, they contain both familiar forms of animal life and entirely different ones that...
So she's talking about, see, remember how they're trying to make it a spiritual world. She said it's a spiritual world. They contain familiar forms of animal life. And bitch, shut the fuck up. You're talking, watch how this bitch talking. Watch her talk.
He explained, embodies some salient and positive love, principle, or affection. So I leave it up to you to imagine what those look like. Human souls look like earthly people, but instead of blood, quote, only a pure white or colorless electric current courses through them. They wear clothes.
So she's saying they got pure light running through them, but they wear clothes though, bitch. Make this shit make sense. See how they trying, bitch, when you came over here, we was already on some high power shit. You see what I'm saying? We was already on some high power shit. Now they trying to make this shit look mystical and magical. Oh, they had, instead of like blood running through their veins, they had this mystical white, plasma energy in them. Yeah, that could have been true. And then they wore clothes. Watch what else she continue to say.
And have no bad teeth or saliva. They move through space using magnetism. They have musical sounds and note values. And so the spheres in which they gather are literally harmonious and rhythmical. They have buildings, cities, schools, art, music, and, quote, more fun than we do. They also have better sex. Now, mind you, so now they having better sex. So now we saying spirits be fucking. So now we know that the spirits are fucking because obviously they got schools, they got music, they fucking.
They wearing clothes? Bitch, this sound like real life. But the fact that we're using magnetism, the fact that we're doing supernatural shit, these crackers couldn't tell us we was doing that shit. They had to make it seem like it was some comic book shit, some fantasy shit. But she's saying that we got buildings and clothes and schools and we dancing and we throwing parties and we're convening together. We doing all of the same shit people do on Earth, but it's not Earth though. Woo! Boy, you better watch these, boy. The mayonnaise at its finest. Okay? Mayonnaise at its finest, all right? So let's go to the 17-minute mark. And let's get off into the prophecies, all right? But let's see what she says about them first, so at the 17:55-minute mark.
But today is like pretty hallucinogenic as well. So in supplying what he called keys which open doors sealed from man, but which are ready to swing wide when the proper open sesame is spoken by those
Okay, so Pasha Beverly Randolph, we know obviously was in sex magic, sex code. He felt like now she's saying this because she was all excited because he was the first hashish dealer. Now we know if you a weed smoker, you know that hashish is hash. Hash is what the resin is. If you see the trichomes or the stuff that make weed look all crystally, those are called trichomes. They'll take those trichomes, that's that resin. That resin contains a lot of THC. They'll make a paste out of it, and that's called hash. And so we know I've also introduced you to the book about Timothy Leary, the Tibetan Book of the Dead. We've talked about these things where obviously people use psychedelics in order to open up different corridors or locked doors or doors that were locked on mankind that they're not ready for. So they would use these in combination with mirrors and stuff like that in order to open up spiritual doors and frameworks. That's what you need to understand. But yeah, she really got excited about that. But understand we're talking about the marijuana plant. Remember, it is a tropical plant. Blancos know they ain't nothing tropical growing in where Blancos is from. So automatically we know if this guy is talking about that, how you gonna be the first hashish dealer or weed seller, weed smoker, and weed's been around for thousands of fucking years. Once again, they be acting like they slick, like they bringing some shit to us. Niggas been smoking weed ever since niggas been, get out of here. Like, so it's this idea, like once again, that's what they do on the slide. But let's allow her to continue for a second. And let this play.
Worthy of admission. These texts promise to transform strangers reading into a subterranean community of adepts. So
they would leave through going through the occult, through opening your eyes and these psychedelics, they would actually go to the underworld. This is what the Egyptians so-called were obsessed with and all of this different stuff. We're going to provide a little bit more clarity on all of this, but we're going to have to breeze through this and we'll revisit it. And hopefully, we'll create a little bit more time for Q&A to go deeper off into these things if you guys still have some questions. But I invite you to take a look at this video because it's there. It's Fall 2020 Workshop, Laura Cohen, Pasha Beverly Randolph's Occult Undergrounds, November 2nd, 2020. So you're more than welcome to take a look at this video in its entirety, especially if you feel like I'm not giving you proper context. So let's move on.
Extended far beyond earthly realms. As Randolph writes in his pamphlet, Guide to Clairvoyance, I have associates. We do not count ourselves as altogether of this world. So Randolph often explicitly addresses his writings about...
So remember what he said about he said, we do not count ourselves as altogether of this world. All right, let's go to 2018 because this is as we go off into this, what he talked about with sexual energy. So we're going to go off into, we're going to skip to the 20-minute mark. All right.
Promise an array of earthly benefits. These included heightened pleasure, physical health, guaranteed love, the empowerment of women, the production of superior children. Their real value went beyond the world and even arrayed itself, as he put it, against it. Soul power and sex power are coefficients and codependents, Randolph explained. And thus, by cultivating one's sexual capacities, practitioners could connect to celestial forces and harness what he called their power, knowledge, energy, and force.
So through your orgasm, you would be able to harness your power, knowledge, energy, and force. Okay, this is what that's why we said sexual energy is they've always put a concerted effort to control it. That's why he said when you start to see sexual energy being, the deviations and you see a lot of the perverse behavior, this is why you see this, because the occult is well aware of this. They know that this is the base, the people can be fundamentally unsound. And this is the way to keep people fundamentally unsound is them not being able to control or understanding, knowing, or being able to understand how to use their sexual energy. All right. And so let him continue.
He explained, only at the moment, the very instant of the wholly full, mutual, and pure orgasm, or ejection of the three fluids and two auras, i.e. prostatic, seminal, and female lymphologia.
So prostatic, which is coming from the man, seminal. So we getting two fluids, the prostate and the seminal, because remember that's called the plasma. Remember I told you guys. Remember we talked about this seminal plasma. Remember we said that only 5% or 2 to 3% of what you spit out is your actual semen. 98% of what you ejaculate in a woman is plasma. This was what they was understanding in the 1800s. And then remember I told you how the Blanco come out. Yeah, we didn't know what seminal plasma was. We didn't, blah, blah, blah. And how they teach us about the birds and the bees. All we see is these little cells swimming and stuff. And that's all we think about. And this was what they determined in occult magic and sex magic was the Holy Trinity. What you secreted from the prostate and what you secreted as seminal, your semen, your seminal plasma, and the energy from the woman. That created the Holy Trinity. And if you guys were able to reach a mutual orgasm, you could open up spiritual doors together. All right, let's go.
Mutual orgasm, in other words, opens a momentary pathway to the cosmos, enabling humans to connect with spirits. Thus, while Randolph may have addressed himself to couples, in his account, the best sex always involves more than two participants. Moreover, the sexual fluids emitted at this moment of ecstatic extraterrestrial contact had their own use. Dolts and fools may laugh, he explained, but they could be used for, quote, the charging of magic mirrors with the divine spiritual.
Okay, so now we're going to fast forward to the 26-minute mark, 26. And this is going to be the first prophecy because this is what Pasha, Beverly, Randolph warned them about. So we're going to go off into the prophecy. This is why it's going to be so profound. All right, let's go.
To, quote, undermine the very foundations of a true and conservative social order. And this is a longer quote from Randolph. Fired by the enthusiasm of this weird magician, fascinated by the desire to test their newfound power, they grow restive and restless, until at last, grown sharp, cunning, sure, and fearless, they throw off all restraint, and we are plunged neck deep in the resistless torrent of a social revolution and domestic cataclysm, wherein men must take back seats and universal woman come to the front.
Where men must take back seats and universal woman come to the front. What happens is that there's a great awakening. You see what I'm saying? And that these black people somehow get their superpowers. All right. There's going to be some sort of upheaval. You know what I'm saying? That he can't control. All of a sudden, these Negroes running around with superpowers they can't control. Because like I told you, if you notice, the Blancos have been running around all of this time amassing military power and might. You've been trying to think about why in the heck he's sitting up here amassing all of these nuclear armaments, all these warships, aircraft carriers, missiles and stuff like that. Who is he getting ready for? And you got to be able to distinguish between who's his real enemy and who's his friends. He's sitting up there feigning as if he has enemies on the international level, but they're all working together because they all know what time it is. Let her continue, right?
So in the prosecutor's fears, Randolph voices his dreams of an occult.
Okay, hold on. Let's go to the 29-minute mark. Hold on. Let's go to the 29-minute mark. Right quick. Hold on. Hold on. Matter of fact, let me see. I want to make sure I didn't skip the most important part of the 29-minute mark. Okay, yeah. So I'm not there yet. All right. So we're going to go to the 29-minute mark right quick. All right.
Bodied Man, which was from 1868. And it's Randolph's fullest account of what he calls the world of disbodied, unearthed peoples. The disbodied, unearthed peoples to which he refers are technically the spirits of the dead in the afterlife, but the adjective's peculiar negative construction, disbodied, unearthed, which implies something done to peoples, and even the word peoples itself, with its connotations.
And basically what she's talking about is he's alluding to Negroes. We're going to go to 30 because he says something very interesting. So we're going to start going off into these dates and deconstructing this stuff right quick, right? So we're going to go to the 30 minute and 58 second mark right quick, or as close as we can get it, right? So let's let her read.
Black and white too. The sublime
Hold on.
arts of reading and penmanship.
Hold on. Let's go back just a little bit.
So he explained the beginning of After Death, that these circumstances framed his conceptualization of the book. For weeks together, he writes, I was obliged to sleep with pistols in my bed because the assassins were abroad and red-handed murder skulked and hovered around my door. Daily threats of summary strangling seasoned many of my meals while writing out the first edition of this revelation. The offense being that, under the orders of my country's officers, I taught some thousands of Negroes, black and white too, the sublime arts of reading and penmanship.
Now, mind you what this nigga said. Now, you know he's a fucking liar. He said he taught thousands of Negroes how to read. Thousands of Negroes. Remind you, he's over here. This is around 1861. This is 3 years before the Civil War kick off. You taught thousands of niggas how to read in 3 years? Stop the fucking cap. He's a fucking lie. But see, this is what they got to remember. This is what the takeover is all about. And I'm going to show you exactly why this was such a huge fucking lie. We're about to expose all of this shit, right? So the reason why I'm going to show you this is a huge lie is, remember, he works with the Freedman Bureau. All of them are occultists. Frederick Douglass is an occultist. All of them do sex magic. All of them are in the occult. Frederick Douglass with the Freedmen's Bureau. Now, we told you that they were a part of the lineage of what you call or articulate as the Moors. These are the men that were guiding, and no other movie accentuates that than the one that we're finna use as damning evidence. And it's finna be good. Because you know it's my favorite movie anyway, so you know it's about to go down. But anyway, so this is the thing right here. So he's saying that he taught that they started to set up all these institutions, right? Now, let's go to the Freedmen's Bureau. Let's go right to the Freedmen's Bureau, all right? Let's see what the Freedman Bureau was. All right, hold on 1 second. Because we about to get into it. I ain't got time for this shit. I'm about to crack them over the head. Hold on. Hold on. Let me close this out right quick, y'all. Let me close this out right quick. At least let it look somewhat. All right, there your boy go. Now, the Freedmen's Bureau, okay? The Freedmen's Bureau, formerly known as the Bureau of Refugees, Freedmen and Abandoned Lands, was established in 1865 by Congress to help millions of former black slaves and poor whites in the South in the aftermath of the Civil War. The Freedmen's Bureau provided food, housing, and medical aid, established schools, and offered legal assistance. It also attempted to settle former slaves on land confiscated or abandoned during the war. However, the Bureau was prevented from fully carrying out its programs due to a shortage of funds and personnel, along with the politics of race and Reconstruction. Get the fuck out of there. That's a fucking lie. Now, it said it was established in 1865. What's also, saying critical for people to understand is that, remember, they said that Lincoln freed the slaves. Lincoln didn't free the fucking slaves. How do we know this? Even if from a general level, this is just surface level. They say that the Emancipation Proclamation was issued in 1863. Bitch, the war is still going on. You don't even know if you won the war. How can you set me free, bitch, and you still a slave? Remember, at this time, it's two presidents. You got Jefferson Davis as the president of the South, and Lincoln is the president of the North. So you literally got two presidents. He ain't even president of the so-called whole United States at this time. But then again, Blancos don't know their history, and we don't know their history because Blancos is only teaching us what they know, and they refuse to teach us all of the holes, right? So this is the point. Now, this is established in 1865, directly right after the war, supposedly, right? These Blancos want to play like they're giving back. No, nothing can be further from the truth. This is all theater. Now, look at this. Says the Freedmen's Bureau was established by an act of Congress on March 3rd, 1865. 2 months before Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered to the Union's Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox, I believe that's called, Courthouse, Virginia, effectively during the ending the Civil War. And intended as a temporary agency to last during the duration of the war, and 1 year afterward, the Bureau was placed under the authority of the War Department, and the majority of its original employees were Civil War soldiers. Now, and this is very interesting, note this. Did you know Howard University, a historically all-black school in Washington, D.C., was established in 1867 and named for Oliver Howard and its founders and the head of the Freedman Bureau? He served as the university's president from 1869 to 1875. So A white boy, not only is Howard University named after a white general, he served as the president for 5 fucking years. So I need niggas to get out of my fucking face for some historically black college. We also know that Spelman is named after one of the Rockefellers. All right, so we know that this campaign to start up these institutions. But remind you, remember what I told you, brothers and sisters, pay attention to the date. It's 1867. The Civil War ended in 1865. You telling me niggas is fresh 2 years out of slavery and you build them colleges? These niggas can't read. Why would you build them colleges? And how in the fuck is Pasha Beverly Randolph teaching thousands of niggas to... Man, this lie gets so deep. We about to uncover some shit right now. We about to bring the heat right now. All right? Furthermore, how do we know that these motherfuckers didn't have any structure? They didn't have no money, and they knew they came over here because it's Pasha Beverly Randolph told you, because he's speaking in code. We had our own buildings. We had our own schools. We had all our own towns, Rosewood, Tulsa. We know all of these things because, remind you, 1865 is the end of the Civil War. They burned down Tulsa in 1920. You telling me in 70 years niggas became doctors, lawyers, and dentists and oilmen and didn't know how to read? Come on now, stop the cap, right? Okay, so they knew they came over here to teach us the language so that they could snatch it from us, right? Because they know our people were well-versed in learning languages. You see what I'm saying? We prided ourselves because we were a highly intellectual people. That's what we prided ourselves with. And then we told you what they came over here with was disease. So we felt the only way to really save our people and to stave off the disease was to compromise with them. This is what the Blanco called treaties. But we know nothing could be further from the truth, right? We had to capitulate because we've seen so many of our people dying and dropping dead. You could also get these details in a book by Bartolomé de las Casas with the destruction of the West Indies, which I think was printed in 1553. Okay, but it is Bartolomé de las Casas and it's called The Destruction of the West Indies. All right, so that details those accounts if you need any further evidence. But let's continue on, because what Frederick Douglass did was he then got niggas to invest, right? So let's go to this. Let's go to Frederick Douglass, old snake ass, right? The Freedman Savings Bank. Good intentions were not enough. A noble experiment goes awry. Like much that came out of the Civil War, the Freedman Saving Bank, officially the Freedman Saving and Trust Company, began with a sense of high moral purpose. Its founders understood that the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which abolished slavery, was only the start down the long road toward full participation in American society for former slaves. Simply to survive the transition to a system based on free labor, they would need food, clothing, shelter, and medical care. Because lo and behold, these niggas, they don't even know how to make clothes, but we the ones picking the cotton and shit. Get the fuck out of here. But in the longer term, if they were to have a meaningful chance to succeed in American society, they would also need education, legal services, financial services, and capital. With these needs in mind, Congress on March 3rd, 1865, enacted legislation to establish the first of its kind social services agency that became known as the Freedmen's Bureau to administer a broad program of help and self-help. On the same day, it chartered the Freedman Savings Bank with the goal, as the African-American statesman Frederick Douglass put it, of instilling it into the minds of the former slaves lessons of sobriety, wisdom, and economy, and to show them how to rise in the world, end quote. That's Frederick Douglass bitch ass saying that, okay? And guess what happens? This motherfucking bank collapses. This bitch collapses, right? All right? It had cost more than $200,000 to construct. And you know, in today's money, that's about $100 million damn dollars. All right? But look what happens. All right? The contraction puts down the yield on the government securities, forming a primary component of the bank's investment portfolio. They talking all of this mayonnaise shit. All right, and I'm gonna show you why they talking this shit. Okay, so it says by 1873, as the national economy spiraled downward as the bank's condition turned critical, too late, Congress asked the OCC to assess its prospects, providing a special appropriation to conduct emergency examinations. In February 1873 and February 1874, OCC examiner Charles Meigs reports on the growing precariousness of the bank's position, in part because no one had been watching carefully over the bank's affairs. Its officers had fallen victim to their own inexperience, blah, blah, talk all this mayonnaise, right? So they basically put Frederick Douglass as the president to keep up the morale of the bank, right? The bank's closing did more than shatter the dreams of Douglass. Like he was upset. This motherfucker wasn't upset. This is a whole motherfucking, he's from the line of the Moors. It's one of the motherfuckers who we can't trust. All right? And others with high hopes in its future. It left 61,144 depositors with losses of nearly $3 million. After years of waiting, depositors only recouped a share of what was owed them. It was a bitter conclusion to a venture lost with great promise. You know how this wasn't no motherfucker? You know how this was a swindle? And you know how this whole article wasn't nothing but a whole bunch of mayonnaise dripping with motherfucking old mayonnaise? Is because we about to read an article. We about to read an article. Let's go. This from Time Magazine. Early American colonists had a cash problem. Here's how they solved it. Okay. Money, or the lack thereof, was a persistent problem in colonial America. The colonists were under the control of Great Britain, where the legal tender was both gold and silver, known as a bimetallic system. Yet British coins circulated only rarely in the colonies. The colonists had an unfavorable balance of trade with the mother country, meaning that the value of the goods they imported from England greatly exceeded the value of the goods exported back. Most specie that flowed into the colonies through trade quickly flowed back to England in payment for these goods. Nor did the colonists have access to specie through any domestic gold or silver discoveries, right? They broke. They ain't got shit. So first of all, that debunks Frederick Douglass' whole argument about teaching them economy. Y'all had no fucking economy. Y'all came over here broke. You had nothing to trade. You didn't have shit. Let's continue on. In order to have a functioning economy, so one, this is key. How the fuck you gonna teach somebody an economy? You don't even have a functioning economy. All right. The colonists were forced to turn to other commodities for use as money. Spanish coins from trade with the West Indies and Mexico. What? From trade with the West Indies and Mexico. Pause. Oh, y'all already know where the fire coming. How the fuck you gonna give somebody something you ain't got? Seem like Mexico and Spain is giving you shit. Seem like they teaching your raggedy ass economy. Seem like they was invested in your raggedy ass banks, hoping that they could starve you off. Seem like they was depositing in your shit. Okay? While goods were officially valued in British pounds in their day-to-day transactions, colonists more commonly used the Spanish dollar as their unit of account. Oh my God. Seem to be busting the lies way down the center of the middle. Whole face getting cracked. Frederick Douglass, if I could dig that motherfucker grave up, his whole face would be cracked right now. All them fucking lies he was telling. The Spanish coin, known as pieces of 8, was the most common coin in circulation throughout the colonies. But these were still too rare for the needs of the economy, were often exported as payment to England. From 1643 to 1660, wampum, the shells prized by local Native American tribes, were legal tender in Massachusetts. This promoted the development of the colony and facilitating trade. But the British did not approve of this monetary system and ended the practice in 1660. Throughout the 17th century, colonists further south in Virginia and North Carolina employed tobacco leaves as commodity money. In an effort to address the problem of durability, they later substituted tobacco warehouse receipts for the actual tobacco. These receipts were like the promissory notes. They recorded the value of tobacco stored in warehouses for later sale. Since the bearer of the receipt had a claim on that exact amount of tobacco, the receipt circulated like currency. But tobacco receipts were not easily divisible, and the supply of both tobacco and wampum in circulation could fluctuate widely, making them inadequate stores of value. All right. So we go down here. Right quick. Hold on one second. All right. Hold on. What I'm looking for. Oh, okay. Yeah, but it just goes on to talk about how then they went into fiat currency, but all of their currency, all of it was backed by what they would get from the Indians. What they would get from, they had no paper money. But basically what you had was, let me talk back to you. Basically what you had was you had them running around with the investments that our people were making to them, would give to them, whether it was we give them gold, silver, because remember, Europe operated on a bimetallic system, gold and silver. And usually there was no time for them to make investments or save the money because they would have to pay immediately for what British would give them in return. But remind you, what British was giving them was weapons because British didn't have shit. You don't grow shit. Remember, the only thing this Blanco has ever been good at selling is weapons. To this very day, the United States and Russia are the #1 seller of weapons. That's what you have to understand. That's what you got to get through your head. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing that they were doing. What did British have? So the colonists knew they needed the war dogs. They needed the guns and the ammunition. They needed all of these things in order to continue to keep waging war against the indigenous. And in return, the one thing that they knew that they could give back to the British, which they wanted, was obviously the cotton, the tobacco, the sugar, the cocoa, all of these things that were part in this environment. So this whole lie about the Freedman's Bank being set up for Africans, and all of this different shit. No, this is a whole lie, right? And if you set up institutions, why would you set up colleges? First, these niggas can't read. They're going to jump straight from not knowing how to read to fucking colleges. Are you fucking kidding me? All right. So they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew our people were well learned, and our people were so well learned. The very institutions you better start up first is a fucking college, because that's how badass we were. That's what you need to know. All right. All right, so let's go on right quick because, man, running low on time and stuff. Okay, so basically with that being said, we want to go to the great prophecy. We want to show, because we want to go back. We want to go back to this great prophecy that he talked about. So let's go back to the video with Pasha Beverly Randolph. Where is it at? All right, so we want to go to the 33-minute mark. All right, so I'm going to share my screen, you guys.
Universality. Randolph pictures an actual universe whose far greater ethereal splendor outshines the earth and puts its arrangements to shame. And instead of locating freedom in what Hartman calls the sovereign individual, he reaches toward a freedom that would lie in collectivity and radical intersubjectivity, whether the preternaturally connected undergrounds he sought to build, or his understanding of one's own person as irreducibly plural, as never actually one's own. In the second half of After Death, Randolph turns from the possibility of exiting this world to the upheaving of it that the prosecutor warns against in the Great Free Love trial. This time, the world upheaval is literal and terrestrial, as well as social.
This time, the world upheaval is literal and terrestrial. Okay?
Randolph notes that in his 1863 historical / theological / geological study, Pre-Adamite Man, he had argued that thousands of years ago, the world was rocked by a cataclysm in which, quote, the molten mass in the earth's bowels became disturbed and it vomited forth fire and flame from 100 volcanic mouths.
It vomited forth from 100 volcanic mouths. Right? He's talking about thousands of years ago. Notice every time they talk about these volcanic eruptions, they say, oh, millions upon millions of years ago, they erupted. No, these cycles are just out. They're short cycles, brothers and sisters, especially when Mother Earth's sick. She knows when she's sick. She knows when to amplify her energy. She created you. She maintains and creates you. And she knows what she's doing. All right. So this is what Pasha, he warned me this. Remember, he started the lodge. He started the lodge that eventually moved to Bohemia. The one that's currently, I believe, the Bohemian Grove is I forget where it's at now, but the lodge moved from San Francisco, where Pasha Beverly Randolph started it. Okay. So the Bohemian Grove, like we said, the owl symbolism. Remember all of this. This is all the stuff that we're going to go off into in my favorite movie to show you exactly what they were talking about, because they came out with a movie called 2012, which I detailed in the previous segment, but also what came out in 2012 was my favorite movie of all, and it told the real story. It was such a huge movie with symbolism, and that is Django. Oh, we got to get into it. But this is what he was saying. He was warning them, when they tap into their Kundalini energy, when you start seeing them shifting, when you start seeing these black people or getting woke or that serpent energy rising, beware. They will tap into the earth energy. They will connect with the solar energy, and it will be all sorts of light energy that we just don't know of, and it will activate them. Just like how you're activated with puberty. When your puberty kicks in, you don't know. Remember, that's sexual energy. That's what turns you from a boy to a man or a girl to a woman. And you don't know when that time is going to be, but that clock, remember, your pineal gland is a part of your biological clock, and your pineal gland runs off a crystal. We've already exposed this. Calcium crystals at that. And if it runs off the wrong calcium, it becomes calcified. Come on, man. Let's work right now. All right. So let's go off into this movie because we ain't got a lot of time. We got a half an hour left to try to get through some of this. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna play the audio for the most part, because obviously we can't show this movie. So we're gonna play a little bit of the audio. All right. And let's see where we at, because we gotta hurry up and let me hurry up and do this. Okay. All right. So first, we're gonna go to the 59 minute mark of 53 minute mark of Django. Hold on one sec. So if you guys know me, you know this is my favorite movie. You know what I'm saying? You know this is my favorite movie. You know what I mean? So, hey, you know how this goes. We're going to go to the 53 minute mark, and we're just going to play the audio. We're going to play the audio right quick, all right? Let's get it in. Hold on. All right, so just listen to it, you guys. We're just gonna play it.
How you know Broomhilda's first masters was German?
Well, it is a German name. If they named her, it stands to reason they'd be German.
Lots of gals where you from named Broomhilda?
Brunhilde is the name of a character in the most popular of all the German legends.
It's a story about Broomhilda?
Oh, yes, there is.
Do you know it?
Well, every German knows that story. Would you like me to tell you? Well, Brunhilde was a princess. She was a daughter of Wotan, god of all gods. Anyway, her father is really mad at her.
What'd she do?
I can't exactly remember. She disobeys him in some way. So he puts her on top of the mountain.
Broomhilda's on the mountain?
It's a German legend. There's always going to be a mountain in there somewhere.
Notice what he says. It's a German legend. It's always going to be a mountain somewhere. He puts her on top of the mountain. Now, he said her father's name Volkan. Now, he's telling this myth all wrong. See, if anybody know the movie Django, I'm a Django enthusiast. Trust me. I'm finna show you some inconsistencies, some things that you might have seen, and some things that you just probably missed, right? But this is what I'm finna relay to you and all this stuff, all of the deep symbolism here, because this was about the capture of Queen Khalifa. You know what I'm saying? They just called her Hildy. Now, Hildy's name, they call her Broomhilda, but Hildy means, armed for battle. To get ready to go to war, armed for battle. That's what Hildy means, right? That's King Khalifa. Remember, she was an Amazon warrior. That's what Hildy, that's what Athena is. All of these names, that's what Sheba was. Remember, the common denominator is this warrior woman, right? Who they've trapped, who they took over, they got her land, they captured her on her mountain, okay? All right, and so we have to go back and save her. This is what this story, you're going to find this fascinating. I love myths. I took a couple myths in Greek myth classes and stuff like that, but I was able to see and knew that was a lot of our stories being told and obviously whitewashed. But this is something that you really got to pay attention to. This movie is extremely deep. All right.
They put a fire-breathing dragon there to guard the mountain. And he surrounds her in a circle of hellfire.
See, he said he surrounds her in a circle of hellfire. Circle of hell. We talked about the ring of fire. This is where the ring of fire is. Queen Khalifa, she's centered around the ring of fire. Okay, so we know that they're pointing to this. How do we know that they're pointing to this? Because the real myth or the German Norse myth of Broomhilda does not even go like this. It don't even go like this. In the German myth, what happens is that she is looking for a man that can compete with her. So because she's an Amazon warrior. So the man that, is able to compete with her, she will marry that man, right? So Siegfried doesn't even want to be with this bitch. He wants another chick that he wants to marry, right? So in order to marry the chick that he wants, he goes in and acts like he wants Broomhilda to pass her test. And then so another guy can marry her. When Broomhilda finds out that they were, putting the rules on her, she kills Siegfried. That's how the myth goes. So that goes to show you in this movie, they're trying to relay another message to you if they completely change the myth. I am killing you niggas. They're relaying a different message to you if they completely change the myth. That's the whole point of changing the myth. Okay? So remember now, contextually in terms of the myth is concerned, Dr. Schultz is playing Siegfried's role. He's coming in like he wants to be with Broomhilda, like he's interested, right? So that Django can obviously be with her. So you see the role play in this terms of the switch. I used to write papers of this shit in class all the time. This is what they study. That's why I told you, remember all the time, I've been in these classes with Blancos understanding the deep psychology. That's all the time when I be looking at these individuals in the conscious community talking about how we need to have these conversations and it's about equity and about, you can't talk to these motherfuckers. They know exactly what the fuck they're doing. And they're showing it through Hollywood and shit. So what we're going to do is, we're going to go off into, we're going to go off to the next, let me see where we're at. See where we're at. Here. All right, yeah, so we're gonna go off into the 2 hours 17 second mark. And I'm finna show you why this is so deep. Some shit that y'all overlooked. And y'all finna be like, oh my goodness. And how many, put ones in the chat if you love this movie Django. Put ones in the chat. So some of this shit you might not have seen, right? Some of this shit you might not have seen. All right. Hold on. I almost got it queued, you guys. There's commercials on this, so I got to go past them. That's all I'm thinking about. All right. Let's see.
You know, Monsieur Conde, you do possess the power of persuasion. Wait, Monsieur Conde, you have a deal. Eskimo Joe, $12,000.
So now we know that this is a dinner scene. This is when he's about to, he's trying to offer to purchase Broomhilda. Okay, so he agrees to pay for Eskimo Joe. All right, so he can be the Black Hercules. Again, this is Heru. Remember Heru, Hercules, Heru has to come. We already know that symbolism, so it's already there. It's deep off in here, but this is very important. All right. So now we have
Dr. Ray, and a wise decision that is.
However, that is a tremendous amount of money.
We have it being set up now where Steven, which is Samuel L. Jackson's character, he's about to discover what? That they're not here to buy no mandingos, all right? So what does he say? What does he say? Let's play it. Let's roll it right quick. I'm trying to get it to this point. All right, let's go.
Do you answers?
Hold on.
Done. I just got you done up. Come over here. Baby, you on Steven's bad side. You need to be on his blind side.
You said you ain't know him.
Huh?
I said you ain't know him.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
Mr. Steven, I don't.
Why is you lying to me?
Okay, let's fast forward a little bit.
Miss Your Candy, could I get a word with you in the kitchen?
You mean get up out of my chair?
If and you could manage it.
Why?
It's about dessert.
What about dessert?
I'd rather discuss that in private.
What happened to white cake? What sort of melodrama could be brewing back there?
You right, Miss Your Candy. You right. I handle it myself. Meet me in the library.
Remember what he said? He said, meet me in the library. Okay, so you got to understand something. Samuel Jackson character is Steven. One thing you got to understand, that this dude is, remind you, when they meet them in Greenville. This whole time, Samuel Jackson character is running Candyland. He's running Candyland. He's taking care of all of the bills. And remind you, when shit go wrong, what does he do? He tells them to meet him in the library. This supposed to be a slave. What the fuck I'm gonna meet a slave for in the library? Okay, now watch the demeanor change of Samuel L. Jackson's character. This shit is so fucking cold. If you miss these nuances, boy, I'm telling you, you miss so much of this movie. Watch what I show you. Watch how I'm gonna show you how powerful this shit is. Watch what I tell you.
Them mother ain't here to buy no mandingos. They wants that girl.
Stephen, what the hell are you talking about?
They playing your ass for a fool is what I'm talking about. They ain't here for no muscle-bound Jimmy. They here for that girl.
What girl? What, Hildy?
Yeah, Hildy. Her and Django. Them know each other.
He just bought Eskimo Joe.
Did he give any money?
No, not yet, but
then he ain't bought diddly.
Notice the inflection in his voice. Notice the oh, bo, I saw master, I meet you and oh, you know these niggas. Notice how he changes. He's in a library. He's talking with authority. He's talking with direction. He's talking with purpose. He's talking like I'm the head nigga in charge. And I'm finna show you this without a doubt. I'm finna show you what everybody in the movie world missed. Everybody missed this when it came to Django. You didn't catch this. I guarantee you probably didn't catch this. And watch how I light this shit up. Watch how I show you how powerful this shit is. All right. So we finna fast forward. Now I want y'all to show another part. Remember, because all your sights, your sounds, everything matters. All right. So we go to the 2 hours and 13-minute mark. All right.
Ponies, would you be a deal? Go out there and give them cows an eyeball.
Of course, brother.
Thank you, darling.
See, you probably didn't hear that, but that was the owl sound. The owl will hoot like a couple times. So you got the owl symbolism. I'll let you know. I'm just putting this in your head to show you why this is important. But at the 2 hour and 13-minute mark of Django, if you ever watch it, I think it's probably a little because it's got commercials and stuff, so that may not be the exact timestamp. But before he sets the skull down on the table, you know, you hear the owls and stuff. This is significant. They showing you why this is all significant. All right. So let's go to this scene right quick. Right. One of my my favorite scene ever, because this discloses the esoteric part of the movie. All right. So let's go.
Yeah, business never sleeps. Apropos, before your exit, we were discussing the possibility of my purchasing Brunhilde.
Ah, yes. Yes, we were, Doctor. And we will again.
Okay,
this is Ben. He's an old Joe that lived around here for a long time. And I do mean a long damn time. Old Ben here took care of my daddy and my daddy's daddy till he up and killed over one day. Old Ben took care of me.
Until he up and killed over one day, old Ben took care of me. Why is that important? Brothers and sisters, why is that important? I want to ask you guys, why is that important? Why is that important? Why is it important that he said that old Ben took care of him? Why is it important that he said that? Okay. Matter of fact, let me let this whole thing play right quick. Let me let this whole thing play.
Growing up the son of a huge plantation owner in Mississippi puts a white man in contact with a whole lot of black faces. I spent my whole life here, right here in Candleland, surrounded by black faces. I seen them every day, day in, day out. I only had one question. Why don't they kill us? Now, right out there on that porch, 3 times a week for 50 years, old Ben here would shave my daddy with a straight razor. Now, if I was old Ben, I would have cut my daddy's goddamn throat, and it wouldn't have taken me no 50 years to do it neither. But he never did. Why not? See, the science of phrenology is crucial to understanding the separation.
So we're not going to go too further, but mind you, he said, once again, remember, before, in the first time they had dinner, remember I told you I did this before, in the first scene they had dinner, maybe he said that I've parted ways with my phrenologist colleagues and I believe that there's a level above Bright, a level above Lowell, a level above talented that a nigga could aspire to. Bright boy, I believe you are that 1 in 10,000. Remember all of that shit? He was parting ways from his phrenologist colleagues, and we now know that phrenology is a pseudoscience. It was intelligence associated with the bumps on the skull. That is a pseudoscience. But if you didn't know what that's a pseudoscience, if you're watching this movie Django, you'll be sitting up there like, damn, that shit makes sense. Why? Because Blanco's been spitting this shit, even though we know a lot of that shit is false science. Even in movies, if you allow it to capture your imagination, you don't know that what they saying is already some bullshit, that's what's gonna happen. But remember, didn't Django say that? Django said all Calvin did was spit bullshit. How do we know that? The man considered himself to be a Francophile, right? He named himself Monsieur Candy. He got all this money, never once traveled to France, but claimed he was intelligent, claimed he was well seasoned. In that library, didn't know shit. He didn't even know that Alexander Dumas was black. He spit a whole lot of bullshit. Like Django said, that's all he was spitting was straight bullshit. Okay? Now this is what's the most important part. Remember, he said Ben raised him. So where in the fuck did Samuel L. Jackson's character come from? If Ben raised Calvin Candy, where the fuck did Steven come from? Mind you, he always calls him Friend Steven. He calls him Friend Steven. He runs Candyland. He's the Moor that runs Candyland. Remember, when Calvin Candy dies, he's the one who influences Lord Lee to send him to Quentin Dickey. He's the one who tells everybody to stop shooting. He's the one who counts the money. When they hand them the money, when they agree to pay $12,000 from Broomhilda, it's Steven that count the money. It's all there. It's him who runs Candyland. Woo, boy, y'all better catch up. You see what I'm saying? Because what's the likelihood of this black man? At what point in time did he come in? When did Samuel L. Jackson character come to Candyland? If Calvin Candy was raised by Ben, where did Samuel L. Jackson character come in? When did he come in? All of a sudden, this old black dude comes in and he's taking control of Calvin's finances. He's running Candyland while he's not there. He's whipping and beating slaves. He's putting Calvin up on game. You didn't see the symbolism. And I am killing you niggas. I'm trying to tell you. You see what I'm saying? Shit you didn't catch. Because he goes to see Broomhilda. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show this. I'm going to show you even powerful symbolism. This is what you do when you study myths and symbols. This is some cold ass shit of alchemy. Now, they may not let me show it because I know sometimes when I show this, I've shown videos from YouTube and then it blanks out the screen when I share my screen. It may automatically do that. I'm not sure. Now, let's see. 10, 11... All right. 2 hour and 52 minute mark. Now we about to get real deep right here, brothers and sisters. Hold on, right quick. Let this play for a second. Oh shit. Not name. Sorry, ScrewTube. John Legend playing. Shit. Okay. Fuck, I'm trying to get to the right part. All right, hold on. Man, it keeps going back. It's pissing me off. Hold on. Come on, right. Get right. Let's see what we got here. Let's just cut the volume off right quick. Let's just do that. See where we at right here. Okay. All right. This is what I need. All right. Now, they may or may not be able to show this. Okay. Now, this part, I want to see if you guys can see this. Can you guys see that? Can you guys, one's in the chat if you guys can see that. One's in the chat if you guys can see that image. Can you guys see that image? Okay, so yeah, you guys see the image. Okay, now this is called a Parthenon. This is called a Parthenon. This was dedicated to Athena. This is dedicated to Athena. She's looking before Django comes. Remember, he comes into that room and he says, "This for D'Artagnan." He starts shooting the white folks who sick the dogs on D'Artagnan and shit. This is what she's looking through, something called a stereoscope. Now, this is important. This is why I show you this movie was deep as fuck. All right, you see this black dude right here and this white. I think that's probably a white dude or white. I'm not sure. But behind them is what's called a Parthenon. A Parthenon is what they dedicated these columns. They dedicated these temples to the goddess Athena. Athena, we know, obviously is a goddess of war. Now let's go to an article about Athena, right quick. Hold on 1 second. I thought I had it ready. Where is this at? No, come on now. Okay, man, I hate when they don't have my. I swear I had this already. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. Once again, type it in. I swear I had it though. That's why it's some bullshit. I swear I had it. Let me see. I hate when they do this. I mean, because I all right, hold on 1 second, you guys. They're not gonna stop you, boy, because I wrote this shit down. Yeah, bitch. I'm gonna get it. Get some. Fuck you. You knew I had that shit pinned. All right, so basically, all right, we're finna read what Athena does. We're finna read about Athena right quick. Let me share my screen right quick. Simple search. But Parias Athena, because the reason why I say this Parias Athena is different because this is the Greek version. Mind you, Roman made their statue. The Greeks usually made their statues out of bronze. Remember, bronze is a combination of copper and tin. It's where you get the brown look from. You know what I'm saying? The Romans like to use marble and shit, make it closer to white and shit. And so everything is a copy of a copy. The so-called Greeks copied it off of something, and then the Romans copied and made their version of shit. We know they constantly did this shit, but let's read on. It said this statue is an over life-size representation of Athena with a height of 2.35 meters, approximately 8 feet. She stands contrapostal and wears a peplos that is open on the right side. She also wears a Corinthian helmet decorated with griffins on the sides of the helm and owls on the cheek pieces. The crest of the helmet has a serpent wrapped around its base. So she got griffins. Now, of course, we heard the tale I told you. What did we talk about? We talked about Queen Khalifa. Didn't she train and raise griffins? Was Queen Khalifa like an Oprah or something? Was she raising griffins and just giving them to everybody? You get a griffin, they get a griffin. No, because we know that they're talking about the same woman. They're talking many different names. It could have been Athena. It could have been Sheba. It could have been Khalifa. We don't know. But what we do know is an all-powerful woman that they trapped and that they still have trapped. And it's somebody's job to rescue her. Whether you want to articulate it as Mother Earth in and of itself, or whether she was the incarnation of Mother Earth. Because remember, Athena is also the temples dedicated to the Virgin Mary too as well. You see what I'm saying? So it's all of these, spiritual and religious connotations and mythical connotations that are attributed to this woman that we call Khalifa, that they call Sheba, that they call Athena. We don't know, but it is there. It is there. So it definitely needs to be considered, but it shows you how when we're dealing with compartmentalized thought, anybody could run off the locations, time, but the dates is what helps you to put this and piece this together more properly. All right. All right. So now with that being said, remember what we talked about now in this, what I wanted to show you. Let's not get off track. Let's not get off track right quick. Just to go over this quickly, right? This while we finna go off into some deep science right quick, man. Hopefully they let us rock out, man, for these 2 hours, man. Because this should be, man, I really want to get this in. All right. So I'm finna hip y'all to something. Right quick. Hold on. Let me turn the volume down so I can get this right. Okay.
Down we go.
Shit. Need that going. Hold on. Man, about time. This shit always. All right. Hold on, you guys. Just 1 second. It's about to be queued up. All right. Okay. So this is the point. This is why I'm finna show y'all how deep this shit is. Let me share my screen. Okay. What she's looking at is what's called a stereoscope. This is called a stereoscope right here. That's what I showed you, that image of Athena. This is why all of this stuff is huge. This is big. Well, I'm going to explain this in a short amount of time that I have available. A stereoscope was something that they invented. They detailed it and showed it during the Great Exhibition of 1851. Now, basically what it is, it's basically like a box, and it has mirrors inside of it, 2 mirrors that sit at different angles. All right, sit at 40, almost like 45-degree angles, one on the left side, one on the right side. And they both have identical images. But they found out that when the eye gets in, what it does is when the left eye looks at the image and the right eye looks at the image, the brain will then fuse it both together and create a 3D image. It's called a stereoscope. One thing that you have to understand, stereo is Greek for solid. That's what stereo means, but you're usually hearing stereo when you associate it with sound, stereo sound. Surround sound stereo. That's what you used to hear it. But it also applies to the vision. A lot of people don't know that because stereo is just Greek for solid. And what does that mean? That means that when you're talking about something solid, you're talking about something 3-dimensional. That goes hand in hand. Something solid is also 3-dimensional. We have to understand that. Why is it so profound? Because what they're showing you is that what they also had to do in order to manipulate our cosmology, they had to affect the way we seen the earth, the moon, the stars, and the eclipse. This is why I'm heading this, and this is why this is wrapping up and being so important. This is, and this is going to answer something about the eclipse too as well. Now, this exhibition, notice this exhibition. We're gonna read it right here. Share my screen with you, and you can't make this shit up, brothers and sisters. The Great Exhibition of the Works of an Industry of All Nations, also known as the Great Exhibition or the Crystal Palace Exhibition, structure in which it was held on the international exhibition that took place in Hyde Park, London from May 1st to May 15th, October in 1851. So they in this Crystal Palace with this so-called their latest technology, right? One of the things that they wanted to get a hold of was what was called depth perception, because they knew that they could tell you anything, but they also had to be able to trick your senses too as well. They also had to have you by, because they knew the eyes was always going to tell you the truth. You know how people be like, oh man, your eyes is playing tricks on you. No, it's the mind playing tricks on you because you don't believe what you see. Matter of fact, let's go back to something they teach us real early. I'm going to show you how I put all this together. Watch. I know it seems like I'm all over the place, but watch how your boy dropped this science. We finna go to something that we learned as kids. But we forgot. Watch how this shit go. Now, vertices, faces, and edges. Vertices, what are vertices, faces, edges? Now, we ain't got a lot of time to go over all of this, but you see, a vertex is where 2 or more points meet, 2 or more lines meet. So you see this line meets right here, this line meets right here, this line. So that's a vertex. An edge is where faces meet. This is a face. So this is the edge. This is where the edge meet. This is a face. Okay. All right. So we got that down, right? Now we're going to go down to now you see what's called two-dimensional shapes. It's known as something that's flat or a planar shape. Circles, ovals, triangles, squares. These are all what's called two-dimensional shapes. Okay? Two-dimensional shapes. Solid shapes, spheres, rectangles, prisms, cones. You learn. Now notice, these are what our children are learning, you guys. You see the kids over here in these promotional tools right to the right. This is what they're teaching our children, what we forget. Okay? That's why I show you that this shit is deep, why we have to be fundamentally sound. Now, let's go up and you see the little emojis and shit. You know this is not meant for adults, but it should be. Okay? It should be. We're going to go off in two-dimensional shapes. Where is it at down here? Because, of course, I had to read this whole thing for you guys. I had to go over my own, what I felt like I knew. Because I had to even brush up on my memory. Hold on. Where was it at? Okay, hold on. 3D shapes. Hold on, be patient with me, you guys. I almost got it. I may have passed it up. Because I think I'm three-dimensional. Let's see. Okay. A two-dimensional shape are flat shapes which only have two dimensions, length and width. Triangle, rectangle, circle are a few examples of 2D shapes. Simple closed 2D shapes made up of only straight lines are called polygons. Okay, we've gotten all of that, all right? So we're gonna go to three-dimensional shapes. I know this may sound simple, but I mean, trust me, I'm gonna show you how they can hide everything in plain sight because we don't recognize that. All right, 3D stands for three-dimensional or three-dimensional because they spell it differently, right? Three-dimensional shapes are shapes which have three dimensions, length, width, and height. Cube, pyramid, and cone are a few examples of 3D shapes. So when we look at something in 3D, it gives us, what they call, what they call depth perception. All right. And so what we finding out with the eclipses, or when we took a look at these celestial bodies, you never see a sphere. You look at the sun, you only see the sun's face. You look at the moon, they only show you, the moon only shows one face. And then so what has confounded the Blanco and what has confounded many people is like, according to what their definition of shapes, you have two objects in the sky that appear to be, now their science and their pictures have stated that they went out of space and took photos of them, but we don't know, right? And we're going to look at one of those photos. We're going to go again and look at it again. But we're looking at two-dimensional celestial bodies creating a 3D reality. Do you hear what I'm saying? You only see one face of these celestial bodies. You don't see it rotating. You don't see a whole sphere in the sky. You see a circle. And according to their math, a circle is two-dimensional. It is not 3D. It is not 3D. So when you have these three celestial bodies coming together, they create the three-dimensional experience. That's the phenomenon. Okay, in and of itself. But let's show you exactly what we're talking about in terms of that, right? We're gonna provide you with evidence to show you how they challenge your depth perception. Now you talk about your eyes playing tricks on you. No, your eyes are telling you exactly what you need to see. It's telling you exactly what you need to see, right? Okay. Remember, we went to these photos of the earth. Remember, let's share the screen. Remember, we went to these photos of the earth. Let's just pick one. One photo of the earth. These are NASA photos. Remember we said about the three things that was wrong with this photo. One is that it's not spinning. Okay, that's immediate. Two, it's not on a tilt. Three, we recognize that the continents, look, America can fit into Africa 4 times. We know this. America is not as big as South America. North America is not big as South America. So we like, what did you go up there? You took a pair and they was like, oh yeah, we've been modifying the continent sizes. So, okay, we know that if you're not taking the right picture and these aren't the right size of the continents, then you've altered the images. What makes us think that you haven't altered anything else? That's the whole point. That's what they know. So what they're trying to do, they put that little moon in the background. This is supposed to be what they actually took. You see what I'm saying? And wallpapers and shit to try to create the three-dimensional space, but it doesn't work. There's no depth perception. It looks like they literally put a circle and put it on a backdrop because they know that it's easy for motherfuckers to fool themselves, to create the perception, to give yourself what you want to see instead of seeing what is actually in front of your face, which gives you the axiom hidden in plain sight. This is what's so deep about this shit. So they understand that this is how you know what I'm saying, mastering those things in that science from X-ray crystallography and even understanding how people perceive things and with psychology and the combination thereof. They were able to alter your experience and your thoughts. So I tell people, so why am I saying all this? I'm saying that before you could understand cosmology and what's out there in the stars, you first have to understand how they're connected. And there is no other connection greater, no other common denominator that you will always see pop up rather than the sun and these volcanoes interconnected with one another. If you don't understand that cosmology, you're not going to understand the rest of it, because they're not going to let you know the rest of it. They're intimately tied and connected. That's why for the end of days, you always see, let me holler at you. Let me talk to you. At the end of days, you're always going to see something about fire and all of this and hellfire and fire falling from the sky, because it's always going to involve volcanoes. It's always going to involve the ring of fire. It's always going to be this connection between that solar energy and Mother Earth, right? And being activated. And how do they communicate with each other? Via crystals. Okay. And this is how Mother Earth communicates. This is how she keeps up the communication with our central power source that we call the sun. This is extremely important. Extremely important for you to understand. So yeah, can there be, or will there be, is there a potential for something to happen? Yeah, of course. There's always a potential for something to happen, right? But we have to understand that what we're dealing with is them knowing or coming to the conclusion that they knew where the power was, right? Within this ring of fire. 70% of the world's volcanoes is around here in the ring of fire. They found the gold. They found the diamonds. Why wasn't the other parts of the myth true? We don't know what her name was. It could have been Queen Khalifa, Queen Khalifa, but we know that it had an Arabic influence, so we know that obviously couldn't have been her name. Could have been Queen Sheba. Could have been Athena. It could have been a whole lot of stuff. But what we know the common denominator is, it was this powerful Amazon-like woman who rode griffins, whose symbol was the eagle, the owl. You know what I'm saying? And she protected this land, and she may have been a lot of, fierce and ambitious, and maybe she got a little bit too big for her britches, and that began the end of her empire. But one thing that we do know, and I feel, and I know that maybe I'm probably testing the boundaries because this goes past facts over feelings, and it's just maybe just, pure speculation, but I do think that she's still alive. Whatever energy that she possessed, I do think that I believe that she's being contained somewhere. And I believe that this war that they're about to fight is a war in which they know that they have not prepared for. That's what you need to know. So will certain things take place? Strong possibility. But we do know is that one thing that they've been doing is trying to chase these celestial body lineups, what we call eclipses, and chasing these shadows, because remember, anything that emits or anything that is solid is a three-dimensional entity. Remember, and the three properties of matter is solid, liquid, gas. So when you see your shadow has height, width, length. It literally is another version of you in another form of light, because remember, your shadow is all light. Remember, all light comes out of blackness. That's why when you see a higher version of you, that's why they say the shadow work is important. You are literally getting to see the inside of you outside of you. And I am killing you niggas. Matter of fact, let's go to the chat, because we got to break that down in a later segment. It's a lot of heavy information in this, but I wanted to kind of give you guys a glimpse of this, and it seems like they're letting us work a little bit, so I'm not even going to try to jinx it, because I know over the 2-hour minute mark, you know what I'm saying, they be tripping a little bit. We're going to go into a little Q&A right quick, because I'm going to look at the chat. And we're going to try to clean up a lot of this, because I definitely got to make a part 3, because I wanted to explore, you know what I'm saying, what they call stereoisomerism in chemistry. You know what I'm saying? But like we said, we're used to sound in terms when we hear stereo, but understand stereo is also with vision. They understand that, light holds information in the form of 3-dimensional energy. So when we taking in light, no matter like we said, from our computers, our laptops, it's also receiving other messages. They've encoded other messages in this technology. That's what's so dangerous about it. Remember, this is where the voice of God technology comes from. Microwave radiation, the same radiation that they use to operate our cell phones. So when some people go crazy, a lot of people may be more susceptible to it because they're a lot more sensitive. But the reality of it is that our defense has to be up, because we know that this technology, as great as it may seem, as it may be a sign of our, humanity being productive in their contributions to creating a high level civilization, the reality of it is that it's poison, it's toxic technology, right? And it takes away from our ability to really be able to utilize our true energy, right? And live life at its most optimal level. That's the most important thing. All right. But, all right, Angela Nuggles said, glad to have caught this live. I hope you can post it so I can come back to finish it. Have a good night, everyone. I appreciate that, Nuggles. Appreciate you tapping in. Harry Lee said, cracking codes. Jay said, one live, he gets another. All right. Let's see. So I'm gonna wait. We're gonna wait in the chat for, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna go into a little Q&A. We probably got a couple minutes because I ain't gonna hold you guys up too long either. Because I know it's a Sunday night. Everybody probably got to get back on that train. Avery said, thank you, Avery, for always bringing us some serious knowledge. You are very much appreciated and essential for a time such as this. Appreciate you. Jubilee Israel said, giving ones, and said, preach. Appreciate that. Let's see. Yeah, so let me go back down here. Let's see what we got going on. All right, so I'm not really seeing any too many questions regarding that. But yeah, these, like we said though, keep in mind that it's a possibility that some of these things can happen, right? But we know that, you know, them immersing us in a sea of negativity is their primary concern because it keeps us, you know, unstable, right? We're always looking for something, you know, to essentially serve as the monkey wrench to destabilize everything. We see the energy that they're putting out there. Movies like Civil War and you know, all of it, they're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at you to keep the energy low. But this is a tone that they're setting because they know that it is inevitable. But we know that this is a wake-up call for us. Like we talked about before, how immersed or how committed are we going to be in acknowledging our ancestors and what they really were and what they were capable of doing? Remind you, there's certain things called metopes, metopes. Metopes are like these rectangular pieces on top of those that, you know, on the Parthenon that I showed you dedicated to Athena, and they told stories of us fighting giants and griffins and, you know, mystical animals and creatures and stuff like that. These were all, to dedicate these huge, you know, architectural designs to this type of history. Why would they do that if it wasn't a little bit of truth to it? You see what I'm saying? We have to understand, like, truth is going to be, it's obviously stranger than fiction. And this is what's being uncovered. We know that they crystal hunt. They moved all of these Mexicans up out of there because they knew what the power of these crystals were. And they started to, you know, try to figure out what Mother Earth was going to do or was our next move. Because we told you, look up the science of piezoelectricity. You know, electrical sounds sounds can be converted to electricity, and electricity can be converted through sounds, through crystal work. Your quartz watch operates off of this. You see what I'm saying? This is not pseudo stuff. All right? Your pineal gland operates off of crystals, and they call that your biological clock. So remember, when they manipulate crystals, they manipulate time. And since you are the crystallogians, you have the ability to manipulate time. Woo! Come on now. Come on now. You see what I'm saying? So this is why all of this stuff is important. Now, whether or not you buy into it, that's on you, because we said the eventuality of all of us in this school that we are brought to is death. So, like we said, if you want to get caught up in and say, oh, that's far-fetched, just that, look, you got to have, it's not about, you got to have something to believe in. If you came here and you know that this is a great and wonderful experience, and then you admit that, you have to understand that there's a higher level to attain to as well. Why not, aspire to that? You see what I'm saying? Because like they said, the eventuality is death anyways. Even if all of this chaos wasn't going on, your eventuality would still be death. So it's on you to figure out what you want out of this existence. You know, it's interesting. If you take a look at Beyonce, look at the symbolism. Beyonce album came out. It's supposed to be a country album. Mind you, she has the first country album. It's called Texas Hold'em. Anybody know anything about Texas Hold'em? You know that poker game is based on tarot cards. Okay, it's called tarot. You see what I'm saying? And so, mind you, it's passing through the part of Texas, right? Her first country album. Now, if this don't have significance, notice how it's all connected. When you talk about the tarot cards, you also see Trump being played. Trump denotes or is symbolic of any action, any authority, any policy that is the prevailing action or authority or policy above all else. Okay. And when you apply that to tarot cards, what happens is that suits and cards that normally don't have power are now given magical power. One of the games that we play, they're called trick card games. And one of the most famous trick card playing games in black culture is called spades. Usually a 1, 2, or 3 of spades has no power in any other game. So it's given trump. It's trumped up and given power so that you can cut a 2 of spades can cut a king down or a queen down or an ace as long as it's not a spade. You see what I'm saying? So this is the power that's given. And notice in the game of spades, who has the most power in that game? The jokers, the comedians, the entertainers. Woo, I am killing you niggas. This is what the alchemists do. This is real magic that they use on you. Okay? But Miss Tina B said, great live in chat. Hey, Rue and Try. Appreciate it. Rosalind Bonaparte, they say Happy New Year, no doubt. So what's your thoughts on fasting as a form of shadow work? Oh, that's what I've started. I mean, I fast every other day. Like my fast the next day is not necessarily like a fast. I'll do my cocoa. And I'll allow myself like bananas or mulberries. I don't know if you guys know what mulberries is, but they taste great with bananas in my opinion. So I'll do like the cacao and the bananas and mulberries. And then, so I've been on every other day for the last 2 weeks, y'all. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been eating every other day. Well, like I said, not dry fast, but yeah, I've been every other day. And I plan on doing that for the rest of my life. Shit, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to test the limits, bitch. I want to see if this shit God power, God body. Oh, we finna test the limits. You better believe if anybody finna figure this shit out, it's finna be me. Cause I'm in my lab mixing. I'm like, shit, hell, we finna figure this shit out, bro. Oh, straight up, he said facts in the new Kong versus Godzilla. They come with the ice monster, was like a selenite stick. I wouldn't doubt it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shouts out. We got so who also in the building? Kristen Hasselhoff is in the building. What's up? Kristen's in the building. So let's see. What's up? Letitia Taylor's always in the building. That's what's up. Ms. Diop says, so should we give electronics a break? Oh yeah, as much as you possibly can. Like I said, it's especially the cumulative effect. Like I said, I work with a monitor, and you guys know. I mean, I usually don't drop as much anyways, and that's partly the reason. I try to stay off my phone. Like when I get home from work, I don't touch my phone. You know what I'm saying? And you be tempted to. You may check it, see alerts and stuff like that. But when I get home from work, I throw that bitch way over at the other side of the room. You know what I'm saying? And I go to sleep. Or I meditate, or I read. I do not stare at that motherfucker. You're not gonna get me. No, I definitely give it a break. Especially our children, because they're growing up on them. We're experimenting on them. You know what I'm saying? Especially with that melanin in their eyes and stuff, they're gonna absorb much more of that radiation. Think about it. It's the same thing with anything. We're adversely affected with the things in our environment because of the carbon, the way we bond. You see what I'm saying? That we bond with the elements and, the energy in our environment. We're 600% more adversely affected than our counterparts in terms of lead absorption. Obviously 300% more when you compare us with Latinos. But this is the fact. When we walk out there, our carbon makes us a liability in a toxic environment, because that's just how, our carbon is. It bonds with everything, right? It has that ability to bond. All right. Yeah. But yeah, we're going to talk about this. We're going to go out because I'm on vacation, people, come Thursday. Oh yeah, I was like, man, talking about 10-hour days, 6 days a week, 3 straight weeks. I said, no, your boy got to go on vacation. Is meditation the most beneficial habit to have? Of course, because see, me and Mara was talking about this. I had homeboy Mara. We said, you know what? The war that most people avoid is the inner war. You see what I'm saying? That's why I think that a lot of people rush into conflicts with people, arguments and things like that, because we, those are battles we feel like we can win. You can outwit somebody, or, you could do this, you could do that. Maybe you can physically subdue somebody. You love those wars, but try telling yourself to do something. Try telling yourself, oh, we're going to fast for 2 days. Try telling yourself, I'm going to try to avoid sex for a year. Try telling yourself some shit. Yourself be like, yeah, try it if you want to. Try not letting me eat them ho-hos, bitch. I'm a grumble like you see what I'm saying? So the hardest war is inside. That's why we love to engage in conflict. That's why you see people always want to be preoccupied, because if they got to sit with themselves, if they had to talk to themselves, if they had to immerse themselves in their own thoughts, it would be hell to tell a captain, baby. Said, oh, Letitia Sailor, for the first time I didn't get a notification. I know, look at them tripping, huh? IMDN said, I remember you talking about them using electronic pulses to control the brain. That woke me up to the technology experiment. Yes, of course. Medusa, how do you take your cacao? Directions say warm milk. Oh, no, not no milk. I don't fuck with milk, period, especially cow's milk. I don't even do coconut milk, all that. Like I said, I tell people to get the coconut wafers or, the bean. They'll come in like the wafers, but at the bean part, the fat, and you also got the cocoa butter. I'll put that in there with the powder. And you know what I'm saying? I'll even take some honey or whatever, I do. And make sure if you get honey, I get the honey with the honeycomb attached to it, because that gives you your proper fats and enzymes and minerals and stuff. But yeah, and then I'll add, my sweetener and stuff. And that'll keep me going for the entire day. So that's called ceremonial cacao. And then there's other things you could add. As you go on, you'll mix and match what you like. But at the base of it, you want that powder and you want those necessary fats, which would be the bean, which they usually put in wafers or nibs. But the nibs usually a lot harder to break down. You'll find out even when you put scalding hot water in there, it usually doesn't melt those nibs. You know what I'm saying? But if you get the wafers, like the chocolate wafers, they'll be the bean, but they'll just be in wafer form. Those have no problem with, obviously melting and giving you that fat that you need, those necessary fats to keep your body up and running throughout the day. Because mind you, not only was I fasting during the cacao, I was fasting during 10-hour work days. So, and I knew, see, this is the thing. I was like, sometimes we say, I don't have time. But if I kept delaying, when was I ever going to have time? That's how the devil worked. And, I was like, I don't give a fuck. Ain't that how they train Navy SEALs? Think about how they train with their war motherfucking Navy SEAL train. They be underwater, holding their breath, putting together a shotgun, taking. See, you got to train in adverse conditions or your training don't make sense. Because you ain't going to face shit regularly. There's never been a thing in life to where you like, oh yeah, I've seen this before. No, life doesn't work like that, brothers and sisters. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, y'all. Medusa said that's a hard fact. She said, yes, I figured. Okay. LaDurin Campbell said, what is plasma? Why is plasma in space? Is it dark matter? Well, we went over plasma is these electrons, positive and, electrically charged particles, ions, right? Cations and anions. And plasma is everywhere. It makes up all of the universe. Your sun is made of plasma. The universe is made of plasma. 99% of your universe is plasma, just in different forms of plasma. It could be seen, when we talk about dark matter, basically what we're saying with dark matter is we have to understand everything comes from darkness, out of the void. We know that from darkness is all colors. That's why blackness is the chosen color, because it absorbs all light. Just like if you had a solar panel, mind you, like I tell people, I'll use this example. Like if you get a solar panel, what do they give you? They give you the most expensive solar panel is a monocrystalline, which means it's all black. Because that's going to absorb most of the sun's rays, right? Anything black, in science, they call this the albedo effect, ALBEDO, the albedo effect, or the potential to absorb the sun's rays, right? Or black body radiation. So the potential for our skin and everything around that's black to absorb the sun, we know that. Black people know this. You ain't even got to be black. If it's 100 degrees outside, you're not walking outside in an all black outfit. It ain't even skin, but the color black. See, that's why I tell people, get away from societal constructs. People be saying, I ain't black. Like a t-shirt don't be like, oh, I'm not wearing that t-shirt because I'm colorblind. You like, no, I'm not wearing that t-shirt because if I wear this black t-shirt in 100-degree weather, I'm going to go outside and pass the fuck out. What you going to do? You like, if I'm going to pick a t-shirt, you're going to pick a white t-shirt that reflects the light so you can stay cool. That's simple science. But all of a sudden, everybody gets all dumb to how color works when it comes to people. Oh, we're all the same. Yeah, you're black, I'm white. We all bleed the same blood. Motherfuckers be cracking me the fuck up. We lose our senses when it comes to the human skin, right? But no, plasma is the gold. It's this yellowish liquid. We went over this, but it's what they came down here for. It's the actual gold that they came down here for. It is 60% of your blood's makeup is plasma. Remember, it is the very thing that they want. It's what they take out of your blood. They will give you your blood back. The reddish shit, they will give you back. They will take the plasma, right? Because it's full of all those regenerative properties. Remember, even when a man ejaculates, over 95% of his ejaculate is plasma. Only 2 to 3% is seminal fluid. This is very important for us to understand. So being plasma beings, yeah, is definitely what we are. And then them manipulating the plasma by manipulating the water. Because remember, water is key to plasma. If you've ever given blood before, they'll tell you if a plasma levels is low, they'll give you water to drink to up those plasma levels. Because remember, plasma is the fourth state of matter. Plasma is the fourth state of matter. Solid, liquid, gas, plasma. All right. Oshun said, hey, brother, I got the ceremony Cacao. I started having vivid dreams and I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah. And Zay Appley said plasma centers always in black neighborhoods. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. All right. Jay Sosa said, I'm seeing great games with macadamia nut. Says it has some type of maltose in it. Yeah, you could. Yeah, yep. If it, if people don't get me wrong, if you can mix the cacao with macadamia nut and all these other different milks from different, if you have success with it, by all means, please move forward with it. Because remember, it's your body. You see what I'm saying? Hey, Root I can never tell you about the greater intelligence that rests inside you. You see what I'm saying? That's between the relationship you have between you and your greater intelligence. So if it's moving you there and you feel like, look, I've been having benefits, fuck what Hey Root say. That's what I say. This is the biggest part of this is your quest, right? But the only thing that I can do is give people the foundation and the base and understand that as you participate in this process of illumination, one thing, in order to acquire the highest level of illumination, the medium of expression is going to be these crystals. And it doesn't matter if people believe it or not, because the framework is already set up for it. It's already set up for it. Matter of fact, I had just seen this online not too long ago. I'm gonna show you what I saw, and I said, man, they just coming out with it now. Hold Yeah, let's see if they may have let me back in, y'all. It's been 2 hours, but hopefully let me see if you guys, let me see. Can you guys hear me? Are we still there? Give me ones if they, yeah, because they, let's see if we still here. Ones in the chat, we still here? Let me look at the, all right, we got ones in the chat. Yeah, brother, I'll say, let me see if I could just, so let me see if I could just put in the keys again and the address stream. Yeah, so it came and popped back up. So we rocking. We got a little bit. We're gonna let it continue. Yeah, we back. So let's see if this work out to where we can get a little bit more questions in this bitch, because we rocking with the crystalogians. Let's get in right quick, man. Sunday, I'm feeling kind of good, and I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? I'm taking my vacation. My last day is last day of the week, Thursday. Then I got that Friday off, Saturday, Sunday. Then I got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. And that Saturday and Sunday. Then I go back to work on your ass. They ain't gonna see a nigga for damn near 2 weeks. All right. They ain't gonna see a nigga for damn near 2 weeks on your ass. All right. Okay, so where do we let's see. Okay. Where did we leave off? Okay, let me see. We got stand phone. Nah, I don't want to see. I can't see the damn chat. What's going on with this shit? All right. Jay Chosen said they tried. Yeah, they damn sure did. All right. So yeah, I'm looking in the chat. I'm just gonna look in the chat. You know, we're gonna TLH said, I'm curious, brother. Was Navitas the brand you tried? Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was the brand that I tried. And I like it. I think they pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? I love the taste. So yeah. Let's find out the malt XP because you mentioned before they got us with the malt beverages. Oh, okay. So let's see. So let's see what we got going on here. All right. Well, yeah, you know, so basically what I wanted to do, see, I still got it going on. When we were discussing those things, you know, basically what we're honing in on, one is, like we said, making sure that we connect with the idea of understanding the whole and the complete story. That's a paramount importance. I think that if we you know, continue to have a compartmentalized worldview, what's going to happen is that we're going to continue to keep getting into these discussions where they're fruitless, going to be exercises in futility, and we're going to find ourselves distancing ourselves from people who we thought at first we had some sort of connection with, right? You know, all of these things that are going down right now, a lot of people are not taking a look at the esoteric side of the game. You know, at first glance, yeah, of course you could say, like, yeah, with the immigrants and Chinese nationals, Mexicans and stuff, the flooding of America, what's really actually going on? Well, they know. Some people know better than others, right? And a lot of what we should be paying attention to is what do they got under, you know, that they're hiding in terms of you know, this crystal work, right? Because soon as they find out, like we told you in the Philippines, when they found them that new super volcano, what did? They reestablished a commitment to, you know, expanding their military prowess over there in that region. It's just not with China. China's in agreement with it too, because China knows that they're in trouble. Everybody's in trouble. Everybody who considers themselves to be a world power is in trouble for exploiting Mother Nature in the manner in which they have been exploiting her. It's a wrap now. We're entering and ushering ourselves into a whole new era. And a lot of our people got to use common sense. You don't want blood money. It's a wrap. You don't want nothing this Blanco can offer you. Now, of course, we got to do what we got to do. Now, trust me, if they offering some things, it's not like we're going to be in a position or we'll say we'll turn it down. But the fact of the matter is that we have to understand that we have to show Mother Nature what side of the fence we're on, without a shadow of a doubt. And it must be no equivocations. We can't feel some type of way about it. You had to be 10 toes down. That's it. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's important for us to understand that anything else is unacceptable. It really is at this point in time. Getting caught up in the politics, I mean, it's you know, that's always going to be around. But understanding why they're doing it, you're going to have to take a look at the esoteric side of the game. These Blancos have always been crystal honey. You see, and that's what spurred them on. They know that they can keep track of what may go on when they have full control of those regions. That's just plain and simple. Plain and simple. All right. So, yeah, you know, if there's not any other questions, let's see, I'm going to look in the chat. See if we got any other questions, because now YouTube want to act funny. It's like this nigga found a loophole and shit. All he did was just go back and you know what I'm saying? All right, but yeah, I just want to see whether or not we got. All right, so without any further ado, I guess, what we're going to do is we're going to continue it on, I believe, Friday, because I'm off Friday, so I'm definitely going to be dropping another video on Friday, get this week out of the way, and we're going to revisit these things, but I get a very, very powerful segment coming up on Friday too as well. Wanted to save that, but, I wanted to talk about the eclipse. I think we kind of hit on that. We're dealing with these celestial bodies. Of course, it may be a time of a great awakening, we know. And I was actually thinking, I'm thinking about, I ain't even gonna hold you up. I ain't even gonna hold you up, y'all. I'm really actually thinking about, because I was gonna go down to Florida, possibly Georgia. I was telling Ob that because I know Ob in Georgia, my dad's in Georgia too as well. So I was thinking about driving down that way, but I didn't want to drive somewhere just to be somewhere just to see something for 4 minutes. I could actually go to Ohio and see it there. And be in the, the path of totality, you know what I'm saying? So I was thinking about that, but I am going to be on vacation. So I was thinking about doing a little bit of traveling, but I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna have to play it. I'm gonna see how this week goes, and then we're going to take it from there. But, yeah, that's pretty much about it. That's all I got planned. I hope y'all, just keep your head on the swivel in terms of all these things is concerned, man. We know what the end game is. We know his mode of operandi is always to be a fear monger, right? There's 1,000,001 ways to die in this Blanco society. Like we talked about, he gonna overwhelm you with the pandemics and the the climate change and the financial crises and the political factions in theater and the sexual exploits of entertainers who done lost their gusto. All type of shit is gonna keep you from recognizing what's really actually going on, right? But we must remain vigilant. Not to say that we don't pay attention, that we don't acknowledge that it's there. I mean, because we ain't really got no choice. But always stay focused, brothers and sisters. That's the name of the game. So I'm gonna just look at this briefly again to see if there's any more questions in the chat. It doesn't look like the chat is even moving. I think the chat is froze for some odd reason, which is really pissing me off because it seems like they're mad that I got a loophole on that. Seem like they mad about that. Mad about that right there. Let me see. Sanchez said, hold on, let me see. My goodness, ScrewTube is acting, man, it's screwing. That's what it does best. My goodness. All right. We should track the moon during this eclipse to make sure that actually the moon blocking the sun. Yeah, there's a thought. You never know. I mean, you never know with them. You never know with them. So I want you guys to remain vigilant, Crystallogians. It's a lot of work out there to be done, but I mean, continue to keep doing the work, because like we said, I mean, this is the utmost importance and stuff. You centering self, getting back to self, recognizing that you have an innate intelligence inside of you and you have to tap into it. Don't pay attention to all the naysayers and the doubters because they don't want to recognize it. The reality of it is everybody is looking for some sort of supernatural or divine intervention. All right. I don't care whether it's aliens or whether it's God or whether it's just yourself. Everybody's looking for a hero or a hero inside of themselves to be activated. So why not just take the initiative by thinking, by absorbing yourself into thinking that this is something that is attainable on your own at the individual level. And it's nothing wrong with that because at the end of the day, that's where everything lies. If you were confronted with a threat, your family, you would have to take immediate action. You know what I'm saying? You would hope that God's going to be with you throughout the entire process, but it's not going to stop you from having to get involved. Same thing here. It's just that you have a little more time to deliberate, but don't confuse that as if you have all this energy available to you to make it happen. Sometimes you may be pressed for time. You know, but in any case, in any regard, a sense of urgency is what you're going to always need. You have to do things like you only have yesterday to do it. You see what I'm saying? You have to do things like you only have yesterday to do it. And that's what I want you guys to understand. You know, and you know, I'm looking at, like I said, just remain vigilant, brothers and sisters, and we're gonna do a live before the eclipse too as well. We're gonna go off into some more powerful information that I got, and we're gonna clean a lot of this up too as well, because of the break that really slowed down the momentum, as they always try to do. But with that being said, we say, who is God? God is the judge. And why is she the judge? Because she decides who wins and loses, not my opponent. Who is my opponent? He does not exist. And why does he not exist? Because he is merely a dissenting voice to the truth I speak. Christologians, speak the truth.
This boy got a hit.
True love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. 'Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more. There might come a day when life and my true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. 'Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more. Thinking what this life has to mean to you, and I like to say, why sleep? I was hoping when awake we'll make our dreams come true. Didn't hear me say, love can always count on me. Hey, 'cause I'm always where I'm supposed to. My life changed when night came and we came together for love. It seems that life's strange, 'cause light came when dark flames had came to come tear up our love. And I don't wanna play no games, no. Just a baby in the day you give me your last name. Oh, our true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. 'Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more. There might come a day when life and my true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. 'Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more.
Talk with no dry eyes, it's sunsets on that sky ride. Her hands up, no high five, I'm so high, I skydive. My life now feels screwed up, we don't move or we don't move up. I swear life is a ghost town, 'cause all we do is stay booed up. I can't lose you, I'll fight back, 'cause who can give me these nights back? Just arches up in that nice back. She drunk in love with no nightcap. Just comfort me and my block scars. Won't take long to see rock hard. Just a wedding ring that's rock hard, and long nights when I'm rock hard. Yeah.
There might come a day when life of our true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. 'Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more. There might come a day when life and my true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. 'Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more.